And the Manchester City team, couple of changes for them. Ortega's in goal, but Ederson's okay, he is on the bench. And Oscar Bobb comes in to start after his super winning goal at St James's Park last time Manchester City played. So Doku is on the bench. So Ortega in goal, Walker, Diaz, Ake and Gvardiol, Rodri with Phil Foden and Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Bobb and Alvarez. There is once again no Erling Haaland for Manchester City. And once again, Kevin De Bruyne coming back, being eased back, is on the bench. So off we go. Tottenham against Manchester City in the fourth round of the Emirates FA Cup. It's Manchester City in there, changed kit, the mainly grey kit with the pink trim, pink numbers on the back, and Tottenham in the all-white here on their home turf. And the ball being played around by Spurs, who've got the ball back. Vicario passing the ball out to Doggy in front of the penalty area, lifts it to the right-hand side where Pedro Porro very nearly gave it away, did his best. In fact, City headed forward, Bernardo Silva, then Romero wins a header on the edge of the box. Tottenham look to break, the informed Richarlison is bowled to the ground. At least that's what he wanted referee Paul Tierney to think, but he didn't. He didn't get the whistle.
No, he didn't, but it's been a frantic start though. Tottenham trying to play out from the back, Man City pressing them ever so well. And a great atmosphere, John. Yeah,
there is the potential for a replay, but certainly Manchester City won't want that.
Yeah.
And here is goalkeeper Ortega clearing it downfield, but Spurs have got it back, and Van de Ven allows that to bounce. He's being put under a lot of pressure by Alvarez, but does well actually, gets the ball under control, the Dutchman, and then comes out to the left-hand side. That could easily have gone wrong for him there.
Yeah, but he's quick and he's powerful, you're right, because Alvarez is putting good pressure on him. I think the ball back from Højbjerg should be better. It's a big game for Højbjerg in there tonight.
Yeah, there was a fear with Van de Ven at Old Trafford that he might have picked up an injury, but he's okay, and he's able to continue. Since they last played at Old Trafford, which was the weekend before last, so they've had their break. Tottenham, they did not go away to the warm weather. Ange Postecoglou said he felt the best thing was to just give them a break, so that's what they've had. Richarlison on the halfway line, then back centrally. The pass through the middle was deflected actually, and goalkeeper Ortega was able to sprint out of his penalty area, and then it's very coolly passed by Diaz. That was very close to being passed to Johnson, but he got it absolutely right. It's a dry night here in North London, not too cold. We've got is that a full moon? That must be nearly a full moon up there.
John, that is a full moon.
Yeah, had to be. Walker on the right-hand side. Clinton Morrison, not just a football expert, astronomical expert as well, as Bernardo Silva plays the ball infield and gets it back inside his own half. Yep, so just to clarify, still Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0, after VAR ruled out the Villa goal, and still 0-0 at Bristol City and Sheffield Wednesday. And the commentary, Chelsea, Aston Villa, is on Sports Extra, which you will find on your digital radio, or you will find Sports Extra in amongst all of the other BBC radio on the BBC Sounds app. Kovacic overhits the ball to the left-hand side. Cheers from the Tottenham fans. And the other thing, Clinton, we must mention tonight, 9,000 Manchester City fans are in the stadium here tonight in the three tiers. And, you know, with all of the difficulties in terms of getting here, getting home on a Friday night, that has to be lauded.
No, that's fantastic, John. It was hard for me to get here, and they're coming further than from where I'm coming from. So credit to those Man City fans, 9,000 fans, and they are making a lot of noise at the moment.
Yeah, the moon is very bright up there. It's almost as bright as the cockerel, and it's golden spotlight. Manchester City coming forward on the left-hand side, back to the halfway line. The moon, apparently, Clinton, is 15 days old, so it's not that new.
Oh, wow, it looks...
It's in the waning gibbous phase of its lunar cycle, I think.
You're so intelligent, John.
Yeah. Here's Ake with the ball at the back, infield towards Rodri, and then back to the edge of the penalty area where the ball is out to the right-hand side, where Foden chases after it, but the ball runs out of play. It is 99% illuminated, so I think we'll take that as a full moon, won't we?
Yeah, we'll say, yeah, definitely. If it's 99% illuminated.
Yeah. Although technically full would be 100%. 4 minutes played, Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and the ball on the left-hand side with Gvardiol. Manchester City in fine form. They've won every match they played since they set off for Saudi Arabia last month. Won the Club World Cup, the FIFA Club World Cup, and then have just carried on winning once they got back. In the last match, you might have heard it with us on 5 Live, that thrilling win at Newcastle. Ball played brilliantly out to the right-hand side. Walker gets it down, a low ball across. Oh, Foden, it's saved, and then it's turned into the net, and then the offside flag comes. Oscar Bob put it into the net on the goal line, but I think the assistant there very nearly put the flag up initially, and then eventually when it found its way into the net, up came the flag, so VAR will look.
Do you know why, John? It's because I think if Foden's shot, it spilled, Vicario makes a save, and it might be going across the line. So, in Doggy slips, it's good play from Carl Walker. He slips, he gets that half a yard. Foden has the shot. He's not offside, he's onside. He looks level there.
Well, I think initially Foden was initially Walker, I think, was just onside. No, I think he was just onside.
Just onside. Okay.
And then, as you say, and then there's a question of whether Bob was offside when Foden shot for goal, and Vicario actually made a brilliant save in the middle of all that. So this is tight. This could be given as a goal.
John, I think this could be given. If it's not Carl Walker, the initial one, Oscar Bob looks level with Mickey van der Veen. So, and as you said, it's a good save from Vicario, but he looks level. And when it takes this long, John.
Well, it will take this long because there are, I think, not that we're seeing it, but there are two things to look at. So they'll have to probably take twice as long as they normally do. So I hope you're sitting comfortably. I hope you've got something to amuse you while we wait for the VAR offside decision on a Friday night. What time's the Traitors start?
I've been watching that, John. Oh, what a programme that is, by the way.
Yeah.
And I got Tottenham fans on my right-hand side asking me what's happening. I don't know what to say, John.
So Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. I think we'll go to Chelsea shortly, but I think we need to be here to see when the decision does finally come. Paul Tierney just standing in his orange shirt, and the decision is offside. The goal, the Manchester City goal, is ruled out. Tight one.
It was a tight one, to be fair. I'm just winding up the Tottenham fans saying it's going to stand.
It's very naughty, Clinton. And it was Oscar Bob whose foot was offside.
Very close one, though. Well done, the linesman as well.
Yeah.
Full credit to him, John.
Yeah.
They get a lot of stick, but credit to him.
Great spot. Well, they've had a little bit of practice, haven't they, this week without VAR?
You're right.
In either the League Cup or on some of the FA Cup ties. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0 then remains the score. Back to Chelsea and Henry Moran.
Midway point through the first half, Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. Villa having that disallowed goal, but Chelsea the better of the opportunities since then. Cole Palmer gifted the ball in the penalty area, shot saved by Emi Martinez. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0.
Ball back with Vicario for Tottenham, who chips it out to the far side, where it's headed back in field by Pedro Porro, and Manchester City are all over this. City must have thought there was a chance of them scoring their first goal in this stadium, but ruled out, so still waiting. Oscar Bob, little touch from him towards the edge of the area to Alvarez, but Spurs look to break. Richarlison does well, but then in slides on the halfway line for Manchester City, Diaz, and then Udogie is challenged by Bernardo Silva, and that is given as a foul to City for Udogie's challenge on the Portuguese. Clinton, you're rubbing your face.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I know he slips in Doggy, but I think he gets the ball. But yeah, I can understand. It's a frantic one. Paul Tierney's going to have to be on his A game tonight, because there's a lot. It's slippery, and they watered it so much before during the warm-up, and a lot of players are slipping at the moment, John.
Yeah, still waiting for the first goal of the night. Bournemouth comfortably through. So comfortable for them last night, scored almost at will in the first half. So Bournemouth have got their place in the draw for Sunday afternoon, which is going to be around about 2 o'clock, by the way. You never quite know where the FA Cup draw is, but the fifth round draw around about 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. But we've got a whole run of commentaries for you over the course of the next few days in the FA Cup fourth round. Ball down the left-hand side for Gvardiol near the corner flag. Here's Bob, the exciting Norwegian. Little ball back from him to the edge of the penalty area. Bob coming in to start. He did start in the previous round, the comfortable win against Huddersfield Town for Manchester City. Then the ball played in right across the penalty area. Walker on the stretch, but on the stretch against his former club, remember, many moons ago. He could only lift it a quarter of the way up the lower tier of that massive Tottenham stand, the home stand to our right. So Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. What about Bristol City, Nottingham Forest, Chris Coles?
It is still 0-0, John, but very nearly 1-0 Bristol City. Tommy Conway, their top scorer, has just brushed the outside of the post. Great ball in from Ameti. Conway steered it goalwards, post in the way. Bristol City dominating, but still 0-0 with Nottingham Forest.
And how's it started at Hillsborough? Tom Gale.
It's also 0-0, John. We're in the 24th minute. Referee Darren Bond having to stop the game following a heated exchange between Casey Palmer and the host captain Barry Bannon. Wednesday 0, Coventry 0.
Casey Palmer, who scored one of the excellent goals in the third round. So Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. The ball so far in the first 10 minutes of this tie has been mainly in the Tottenham half. Manchester City starting strongly. Foden with a nice touch, back to Rodri, now squared to Bernardo Silva, cuts it back onto his left foot, shoots, but Spurs were back in numbers and block it inside the penalty area. Might have gone for it first time, Clinton with the right foot, but chose to cut back. Here they come again though. Bernardo Silva finding space in the left back area, up against Van de Ven, left-footed ball across. That is taken down on his face by Alvarez, who couldn't find a teammate. Then Richarlison goes down very easily. Referee says play on. Bob stabs it forward to the left side of the box. Alvarez chasing it, and Van de Ven slid in and was able to clear it out of play with that tackle for a throw to Manchester City.
Tottenham, they're rattled at the moment, John, and you know what, they're overplaying. You know, I'm all for playing out from the back, but when City pressing you so high, surely you got to go forward. Get Richarlison up against Diaz or Ake and try and get up the pitch, because they're trying to play and taking big risks, and City are one of the best teams that go and pressing so high up.
So this is Friday night FA Cup for you. Once again, the fourth round, big tie, big match feel to this, strong teams, and it is Manchester City. Here's Oscar Bob. Bob with the orange boots gives it in field to Champions League final winning goal scorer Rodri. His ball over the top, that's headed away by Udogie. Foden takes up possession again for Manchester City, who go back to the halfway line to Ruben Diaz. Now Bernardo Silva again way down in front of us, just in front of where Ange Postecoglou is standing in that black coat of his. Lovely pass from Ake through the middle to Alvarez, and then Alvarez does well, works it to the right hand side to Walker. He's got space, Walker into the box, picks his spot, couldn't find a teammate. Rodri on the edge of the area, then the shot from Kovacic, that's deflected wide of goal for a City corner.
Timo Werner's a spectator. He did that at Old Trafford. He has to track Kyle Walker back, because Udogie has to come inside and deal with Bernardo Silva, who's causing problems, or Phil Foden. He has to do his job, John. Has to track Kyle Walker. That
is Clinton Morrison here with us on BBC 5 Live, up in the stands at the Tottenham Stadium. Clinton scored goals in the FA Cup, scored goals in the Premier League, international goals, and we're currently watching a goalless match. Corner from the left-hand side for City. Vicario comes and gets a punch on that on the edge of the 6-yard box. Comes out though to Manchester City on the right-hand side with Bernardo Silva, and then back into the centre circle. Walker was almost dispossessed by Richarlison, but did well, fooled him, and then played the ball out to the left-hand side. Bob is there, and he's got support out there. Kovacic now, little ball through the middle from Rodri, and then the shot from Alvarez from 25 yards, and Vicario had a clear sight on that and was able just to move to his right and fall and catch it.
He has to settle down there, John. They've been under pressure, and there he is trying to play out from the back. It is good. They've not managed to do it. City have won it. Oh, they have.
Foul on Richarlison, Nathan Ake, and the ironic cheers from the Tottenham fans because Paul Tierney's given them a free kick for one of these challenges on Richarlison.
We played 13 minutes, and I think Tottenham have not been in Man City's half, John. I could say that. I don't think they've been in it at all. So you got to credit Man City. It's been a brilliant start.
Yeah, they are. They can be so powerful from the off, can't they? And that's what they've done here. That's what they did at Newcastle last time I saw them. Last time they played, and Kovacic has got possession inside his own half. So Manchester City coming here, of course they are, as the FA Cup holders after the treble last season, the great treble for Pep Guardiola and his team. But Tottenham have got a treble winner of their own, haven't they, down on the touchline? Ange Postecoglou, treble winner with Celtic last season, the Scottish Cup part of that. And his Tottenham team are pressing Manchester City and win it. Throw in near the corner flag. In fact, it's gone out for a corner.
Yeah, it has. Kovacic lost the ball, and then he tried to dispossess Brennan Johnson, and he tried to get it back to Ake, and it's gone out for a corner. You're spot on, John.
First set piece for Tottenham. And Manchester City, they have been vulnerable. They've kept only 2 clean sheets away from home all season, in all competitions, in away matches. Johnson takes this into the near post. It's flicked across goal, but then headed away at the back post to sort of twist and turn, header away by Gvardiol. Here is Timo Werner, the German, who makes his home debut after we saw him make his Tottenham debut at Old Trafford. the former Chelsea man, on loan from RB Leipzig, and the Romanian defender Radu Dragoshin might do the same. He's on the bench again for Tottenham today, as is James Maddison, who I presume we'll see at some stage, Clinton.
And that's good news, great news to have James Maddison. Before he picked up that bad injury, he was in fantastic form. 2.5
months out. Here's Hotspur for Tottenham, receives it from Johnson, then the ball in from the right-hand side from Pedro Porro, but that was blocked. Comes back to the edge of the Manchester City box. Rodri heads it out to the far side. It's just kept in by Bob. Looked as though it might have bounced over the line, but Guardiola now at pace, back to goalkeeper Ortega, took a touch and then chipped it away just in the nick of time. He's good, but he's not as good as Ederson at that.
No.
And then Foden goes down rather easily under the challenge from...
I'll be honest with you, John. No one in the Premier League is as good as Ederson on the ball. He looks like he could play in the keep balls and the little five-a-sides that you have at the training pitch. He's that good.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the first goal of the night in these 4 ties that are being played on this Friday evening. Here's Alvarez, who takes up possession 25 yards out, but then Tottenham converge on him. Rodri works the ball to the left-hand side. Here is Oscar Bob. That was his first Premier League goal that he scored, the winner. A late winner that absolutely broke Newcastle hearts.
What a touch.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Absolutely. Kieran Trippier, I mean, he danced around Trippier, danced around Dubravka and popped it in the net. It was a super goal after De Bruyne's pass, of course. Here is Bob. Bob on the left-hand side, back towards Rodri in the middle. Kovacic is there as well, back to Rodri. Spurs have got everyone in white behind the ball. And now Diaz back near the centre circle. John Stones also on the bench for Manchester City tonight as he comes back from his latest injury. Foden then controls, gives it out to the left-hand side. Guardiola back into the box, but overhit the sort of sliding pass into the penalty area all the way through to Vicario.
This team are unbelievable, Man City. The way they keep the ball, because Tottenham are very good, when I've seen them many times this season, keep the ball here, but it's a lesson for them at the moment, the way Man City play 1 and 2 touch and the movement as well. Been fantastic so far.
Well, we've spent much of 5 Live Sport tonight obviously talking about Jurgen Klopp and whether Liverpool might be able to finish this season, their time under Jurgen Klopp, winning the Premier League title. We know who they've got to hold off, and that is going to be a tall order.
It is going to be a tall order, because this is where Man City can go on them great unbeaten runs, John.
Do you think Tottenham are still in it?
Yeah.
I mean, they're currently 3 points behind Manchester City, who are 5 points behind Liverpool.
No, they're definitely still in it. Tottenham are definitely still in it, and they don't have Europe as well. So they got the players, as you said, like some Maddison coming back, Basuma will come back, Sarr will come back, and Son will come back. Makes them really, really strong team.
And if they were to go out tonight, they would only be playing in the Premier League. Foden with a flick on the edge of the area, but Alvarez couldn't latch onto that. Van de Ven came across. Van de Ven and Romero look as though they are 2 men down there tonight who know that they have got to be at their best this evening.
Yeah, they have to be. They've been outstanding when they played together as a partnership this season, before Van de Ven picked up that injury and Romero picked up suspension and injuries. But they're going to have to defend. The movement from Alvarez, Foden and Bernardo Silva is brilliant.
Bob is offside in the full-back position, so it's a free kick to Tottenham. But still, we've played 18 minutes now, and the match has been mainly played in the Tottenham half. So Manchester City are on top. Manchester City, who are on a 9-match unbeaten run since they lost at Aston Villa early in December, and the match before they went to Saudi Arabia was the 2-2 draw with Crystal Palace, but since then won 6 out of 6 in all competitions and won the FIFA Club World Cup. Richarlison is sandwiched between Ake and Diaz and wins a free kick.
It's great hold-up play. That's the one thing I've seen, John, recently with Richarlison when we were at Old Trafford. His hold-up play has been brilliant. You can see he's a man who's in good goal-scoring form at the moment. And I saw Porro signal over to the bench. I don't know if Brennan Johnson has a slight problem, and that's why he's told his substitutions to go out and warm up.
And that includes James Maddison. You might have been able to hear the warm applause from the Tottenham supporters as Oscar Bob goes in with a challenge in centre field on Porro and concedes a free kick. James Maddison, a big favourite already, even though he's played only 12 competitive matches for Tottenham Hotspur, but has really impressed. Started a couple of games for England as well this season. Here's Hotspur, nice Bentancur, now to the right-hand side where it's taken on, and the cross from Johnson hits the first defender. Guardiola really opened up there, but Johnson couldn't pick anyone out, and it's a corner.
He's got so much pace and so much ability, but it just looks like, and I've said it, John, many times, he's just lacking confidence, because I just want him to drive into the box and pick someone out there. He's got the beating of Guardiola at left back.
We talked about him at Old Trafford, didn't we? Just the one goal so far for Tottenham, and you'd think if he was able to increase that tally, the confidence would come, but Ange Postecoglou's kept him in the team tonight. Here's the corner then for Tottenham. It's a very deep one, which is headed away by City out to Hotspur for Spurs, who under pressure from Guardiola finds Udogie in the centre circle, and then Hotspur again with a very high crossfield pass that Pedro Porro gives back to Bentancur, and then back to the halfway line again, and the captain Christian Romero, who is in danger of losing possession, but actually Rodri was a little clumsy there, unlike him, and concedes a free kick to Tottenham on the halfway line. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and that is also the score line in the other 3 fourth-round ties that are being played tonight.
Yeah, you're right there. I think Rodri was putting him under pressure. He was lucky there to get that free kick.
City with Foden, and actually there's a bit of space opening up here. Udogie tangling with Foden, who goes down. I mean, there were arms. I have a feeling that at the Etihad Stadium that might have been given as a free kick to Manchester City, but not here, not enough in it, felt Paul Tierney.
So quick, isn't he, John? His recovery, there was a bit of a hand, but Foden didn't complain about it. He didn't want the free kick. Good defending from Udogie.
Yeah, Udogie, the Italian international. Van de Ven, left-footed, long ball from him, looking for Werner, who's simply not been able to get into the game at all yet. Werner, as City dealt with that. Walker got his head to it, headed out of play by Rodri, so it's a throw into Spurs, level with the edge of the Manchester City box. Manchester City now 7 times winners of the FA Cup, Tottenham 8 times winners of the great competition, and Spurs coming forward, but breaks down centre field. Richarlison tries to win it back. Pedro Porro does win it back, gives it to Romero. Johnson's available. Oh, poor from Romero, caught absolutely in 2 minds, and in those 2 minds passed it straight to City, who looked to break, but excellent defending again from Van de Ven.
He's too quick. Foden's a fantastic player, but he's not going to beat Van de Ven in a race, and he looks like he's a defender. He enjoys doing his defending. He enjoys it. It's a great tackle from Van de Ven.
Yeah, a little celebration from Van de Ven, a high five with Romero. I was talking to Chris Sutton the other night when we were at Craven Cottage about this growing tendency for players who are not forward players to celebrate their little successes.
They don't get to score though, do they, John?
No,
so
but
that is as
we
good
see
as
a lot
goal.
of it now, don't we?
We do high fives.
Fists and high fives and low fives. Here's Walker, now through to Foden, but Foden's cross is blocked now almost at source by Van de Ven, and it's behind for a corner to Manchester City on the right-hand side. So we'll see what happens. We're going to make another visit to our other featured matches tonight, but we'll see what happens with this corner first for Manchester City. So City have 5 players lining up, one behind the other. In fact, Oscar Bob has just pulled away. No, he's going to come back and join that line, so that's from the penalty spot back into the D. And the corner is taken by Alvarez to the near post, but Bentancur, the Uruguayan, gets up high, heads it away for Tottenham. And now Kulusevski is carrying the ball to the halfway line. Alvarez, having taken the corner, got right back there with him and prevented him from hitting the pass that he was looking for. Richarlison or for Werner, so Tottenham have to go back into their own half.
It's difficult because everyone wants him to hit that ball. Werner's in a race with Kyle Walker. He's not winning that race there, John, so I think Kulusevski did the right thing.
Ball pass for Johnson into the box, Richarlison in the middle, but Ortega drops down, full stretch, but was able to catch the ball, and Johnson couldn't find the pass to Richarlison.
No, it's a great run, and it's a great ball. I think Ortega does ever so well to get there. The run is brilliant, and you're thinking, can he pick it out? But you got to credit the goalkeeper. He sees the danger, John, and really good goalkeeping.
Kulusevski, I've noticed, is now not wearing the mask anymore, so the little break means that they're absolutely happy with him. But in the central position, Kulusevski, but Manchester City coming forward with the ball up towards Alvarez, but Van de Ven again shoulder to shoulder with the Manchester City man, went to ground, made the tackle, and Van de Ven chasing Alvarez all the way back to the halfway line, and then eventually returns into his central defender position. Oh, it's a low 5 with Højbjerg this time.
There you go. He's Dutch, isn't he? He's Dutch, isn't he, John?
Yes.
So him and Van Dijk in the Euro. Wow, it's a good partnership, that, isn't it?
Not bad.
Not bad. And they've still got De Ligt as well. Woof. Okay.
Yes, they have. City with...
John, me and you are going to high five soon as well, because everyone's doing it. So we might as well do it.
Everyone's doing it. Even educated bees. Here is Guardiola, left-hand side. Guardiola, he's got Bob to his left. Bob in the full-back position, back to Kovacic. He turns infield towards Rodri. Still 0-0 if you've just joined us on 5 Live. Foden now turns, lovely, found space brilliantly. Bob, then Guardiola blasts it over. Well, it didn't need that, and the City players in the middle, almost all of them, put their hands on their heads. And there was a low 5 between Foden and Alvarez.
Because the turn from Foden was brilliant, to be fair.
That fantastic?
But yeah, it was brilliant. Romero, I don't know where he was going. He should have kept on going, but poor from Guardiola. Yeah, he's got to do better on that left-hand side. Pick out a pass. I don't think he's a left-back in my eyes, though, John. I think he's a centre-half, and Ake's been so good that he's found it difficult to get in that centre-half.
Bernardo Silva is nudged into Kulusevski. So that's a free kick to Tottenham, half inside their own half. But that was a great example from Foden there of what people say about Foden being the best player to find space in tight central areas, wasn't it?
Oh, he's one of the best around. He's a superstar. He's got one of the best feats you see in the Premier League, and you're right, he can fight in tight little spaces.
Oh, City have won the ball back over on the far side, and now here's Alvarez. This is dangerous. Kovacic with a shot, but Højbjerg threw himself in front of that. Bounces out actually to Tottenham and Kulusevski and Richarlison, and now Kulusevski just down below us in front of Guardiola. And City, though, did well, got Bernardo Silva and Walker onto him and dispossessed Kulusevski. So it is Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. It's entertaining, but no goals yet. And that is the case, I'm pretty sure, in the other matches, but we will go round them and hear what's happening there in due course. And we'll go to Chelsea first and Henry Moran.
4 minutes to the break. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. Chelsea's front 3 have been really excellent. Madueke with a couple of opportunities. Sterling's been lively. Still goalless. Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
And that is on Sports Extra. Commentary on Sports Extra. Ashton Gate, Chris Coles.
Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. The early tempo, which was so enjoyable, has just slackened a little bit. Forest growing in confidence, though. Gonzalo Montiel wasting their best opportunity of the first half. 0-0.
Hillsborough in a moment, but Alvarez and Foden dangerous. Alvarez plays it back into the penalty area for Foden, but excellent challenge on him. Udogie went with him, and in the end Foden fouls Udogie. Spurs defended it well. It looked as though it was going to be danger for Tottenham when Alvarez and Foden broke together, but they've dealt with it, Tottenham.
Yeah, good defending from Udogie. He's the best left back in the Premier League for me this season. He's been the best left back.
The best left back in the Premier League
this season. I think he has. I actually think of one when I'll give you a bit of time to think who you think has been as good as him. See, get your thinking cap on.
I had a feeling you were going to turn that back.
This season, John. Yeah, this season. Yeah,
okay.
I think he's been outstanding.
Okay. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and Rodri heading the ball back to Ortega. Tom Gale will give me a bit of thinking time at Hillsborough.
Yes, John, no goals here, I'm afraid to report. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 0, but the visitors looking more likely on the counter. Top scorer Matty Godden squandering their best chance, blazing over when he had more time in the box. We're in the 43rd minute. It is Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 0.
Yeah, producer Katie's just reminded me that Udogie was in the team of the first half of the season. I was listening to that as well the other week. In fact, we were talking about it.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Yeah, that's right. That's why I probably said it, John.
Here's Guardiola on the left-hand side. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Kovacic up to Foden and then back to Kovacic, who fell over as it was played back to him by Foden. Well, that wasn't so clever from Manchester City, but you can't win them all. No,
definitely. It's been a good game, John. I think Tottenham haven't really got into the game. They've had little sparks down that right-hand side. I think Timo Werner's been quiet. They want to get him into it to try and have a run at Kyle Walker, but City have been outstanding. Just lack that finishing, cutting-edge story at the moment.
Yeah, still 0-0 in all of the matches. I think the moon's still 99% as it comes back to Romero near the edge of the box. Pedro Porro manages to find a way through Bob and then passes it forward to Bentancur, and that's left to Johnson, and Johnson crosses the halfway line and then plays it infield. Here's Udogie. Oh, Udogie gave it away there. or rather Walker actually anticipated it well and stepped in, but that could have been dangerous.
Yeah, it could have. I nearly changed my mind then.
Yeah, I know. Here's Hotspur halfway inside his own half. So the live football tonight, choice of listening with the FA Cup commentaries, more live sport in the morning. It's the women's final live from Melbourne, our team in Melbourne. That is on 5 Live in the morning from 8:30. Vicario's got the ball inside his penalty area, and there aren't enough options for him there, and Alvarez forced him to put it out for a throw.
I get that, he's getting frustrated. Go long. You don't always have to play out from the back. If there's nothing on, John, I know it's your style of play, but don't be criticising people in front. Go long, Vicario.
Manchester City take the throw back to the halfway line. Nathan Ake, same back 4 as against Newcastle, so Ake alongside Diaz, but as I mentioned, John Stones is on his way back. Ake does well on the halfway line, positive, takes the ball forward. Guardiola, Ake's still going, and it was slightly behind him, and that meant that Spurs have got it back, but Van der Ven got himself out of trouble against Foden inside the penalty area.
He must say play like that, John. He must say, Ange must say trust yourself.
Yeah. Long pass from Pedro Porro. Richarlison could be onto this. Ortega comes out of the area and actually, as it bounced up, headed it down into the path of Kovacic. And that was quite cool by the German goalkeeper, actually.
Yeah, he did well, because I didn't ever think Richarlison was going to get there. But yeah, it was good goalkeeping. Really good goalie. Yeah,
cool. To use one of Jurgen Klopp's words, we won't be hearing those for too much longer, will we? In the Premier League at least. As City come forward, but I think we have an opening goal of the night at Hillsborough. Tom Gale.
We certainly do, John. No VAR here. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1, and it's Victor Torp with a stunner, 30 yards out, picked it out the top bottom corner. 18-year-old Pierce Charles had no chance in the Wednesday goal. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
Got some good players, Coventry. Clinton.
They've had some good players over the years as well, haven't they, John? But they have got some good players. I think Mark Robbins doing a fantastic job there.
Yeah. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. And so there we are, first goal of the night. Coventry leading Sheffield Wednesday by 1-0. Tottenham playing it out from the back. Van der Ven clipping it up towards the figure of Werner, who wins a free kick. As Walker was tight in on him. And what have you spotted?
The linesman, I think he's something wrong with his pad, is it?
Oh,
so
right. Yeah. So we're going to have a stoppage here. There's a technical hitch with the communication of the assistant on the far side of the ground, who's actually having to take his shirt off. So that might take a little while. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0 then, with 13 minutes of the first 45 to play here at the Tottenham Stadium. So let's go around the grounds again. Bristol City, Chris Coles.
We've reached half-time, John. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. The home side have been the more threatening without creating anything clear-cut. Tommy Conway brushed the outside of the post from a zipping cross. That the closest they came. Danilo wasting Forest's best chance, firing wide from the edge of the box. The Premier League side lacking any real fluency. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Still the stoppage continues, so back to London, but to Chelsea. Henry Moran.
Chelsea 0, Villa 0, deep in first half stoppage time. Should have been a goal really for Aston Villa. Breaking away, ball laid back to Tielemans, and he blasted over the top of Petrovic's crossbar. Aston Villa coming close. Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
And any more news from Hillsborough, Tom Gale?
Where we're playing added time in the first half, John. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. A stunner from Victor Torp. It's a Wednesday corner as they try to level things before the break. It's Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
Just while the stoppage continues here with the score, Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Let me just mention, Manchester City fans, I'm sure tuning in tonight, that new from BBC Sport this week is Pep Guardiola Chasing Perfection, which is a TV documentary on the iPlayer, but also there is an accompanying podcast series as well, which you will find on BBC Sounds if you search Sporting Giants. It's a 4-part podcast series.
I'm going to watch that, John. My hairdresser, my barber, said he watched it. He got my hair cut yesterday and he's like, watch that, it's a brilliant watch. I said,
yeah. 5 stars from Clinton's hairdresser.
Hairdressers, yes, exactly.
Hairdresser as opposed to barber.
Barber, you can say it. Barber, yeah, barber. He's my barber, yeah.
Do you know what his name is?
Aaron.
Aaron,
yep. A big shout out to Aaron.
So there we are. Aaron says Pep Guardiola Chasing Perfection is a 5-star watch, and I'm sure it's a 5-star listen as well. And we've still got the delay going on here And the Manchester City supporters are entertaining themselves, the 9,000 singing their songs and twirling their scarves and on their feet, enjoying themselves. And so that, well, I mentioned sounds. Believe it or not, Clinton, Mark Chapman's got another podcast on the go.
How many has Chapman's got?
I've
John,
lost count.
Can't keep up with him.
It's new, this one, with Cesc Fabregas and Nedum Anua. Planet Premier League is also
That
new
should be fun
on BBC Sound.
But Chapman's has got about 8, I think.
I don't know where he finds the time. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and it is half-time now at... Well, it could be half-time at any of them. Chelsea, Henry Moran.
At half-time, Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. Douglas Luiz looked to have given Villa an early lead. VAR ruling handball. Martinez in the Villa goal has been busy. Palmer and Madueke both with good chances saved. But at half-time, Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
Half-time now at Hillsborough. Tom Gale.
Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. John, the third time these two have met since Boxing Day, and the visitors on course for their third victory. A torpedo from Victor Torp. I nicked that one from Coventry's social media. Struck just before the break, means at half-time is Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
Just say that again, Tom. I missed that.
A torpedo from Victor Torp. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. We've also, play still has not resumed. So, that is now 3 minutes. But, they've got to get the communication right. If it's not working,
yeah, you're right,
listen, I know this in working in broadcasting. I've had many longer waits than 3 minutes to get the communication sorted out over the years. So they've sorted it out, and play has resumed. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. And just while we had the stoppage, we're just looking again at the goal that was ruled out when Bob put it into the net and was in an offside position. And John Southall, sitting next to us here, was just wondering whether the ball might have gone in anyway.
That's what I said.
Foden.
I think Foden's shot was going in, so if Oscar Bob left it, I think it was going to roll over the line. So, yeah, but I think you can't stop a striker in that position, putting it in. It's your instinct.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Here's Udogie. Tottenham play from right to left as we look in the first half on the dressing room side of the ground. Ball back with Romero. Romero turns, Alvarez, and has to give it back to Vicario. Van de Ven. Van de Ven skips away, but actually was tripped by Bernardo Silva, so went sprawling to the ground. Wins a free kick, and the home fans are onto this. They're suggesting that Bernardo Silva. That reaction tells me that they think that's one too many from Bernardo Silva. Yeah. So referee Tierney will be onto this.
Definitely.
Back it goes to Vicario. Brilliant noise coming out from the Manchester City supporters when you think of all of the trips and all of the matches that they have. We'll be going to Copenhagen with them next month for the first leg of the Champions League tie, as Kulusevski is fouled, and Manchester City do not like that decision. Rodri runs away with his hands on his head. And
Pep is clapping him and laughing to the fourth official down there. Pep is clapping him. That's not a foul, John. That's never been a foul.
Guardiola clasps his hands. Might be licking his lips with Jurgen Klopp leaving the scene. There's Pedro Porro then overhits the ball through towards the edge of the penalty area. Both managers, well, certainly Ange Postecoglou was asked pre-match by television what he thought about Jurgen Klopp, and he said, well, if he's not here, he said something like, if he's not here, that increases my chances of being successful.
Oh, definitely, 100%. Yeah. It's a sad one when he does go at the end of the season. Fantastic manager.
Yeah. Foden, little header forward, but then Højbjerg again, and Pedro Porro has to come across. Now Bentancur couldn't find the pass through the middle, came back to him, headed it down, quick thinking, Udogie. Here's Werner on the left-hand side, Walker comes across, so back it goes centrally. Bentancur curls the ball out to the far side, but Guardiola was able to get to that. Romero, though, dispossesses Guardiola just about, although Kovacic slides in, and then Foden slips over as he chases the ball. Van de Ven rolls the pass to the left-hand side to Timo Werner. Rode on by Tottenham fans here for the first time. Werner coming across field, clips it actually behind Pedro Porro, who has to get it under control and then give it back towards the halfway line. Now Udogie on the left-hand side for Spurs. So we're in the 39th minute, but there must be at least 3 minutes to be added on for the stoppage with the assistant referee. Kulusevski couldn't get the ball in from the left. Werner tries to give it back to him. The defender's in there, Kyle Walker, and Kulusevski bounced off him and then down, and Walker swipes it out of play. And and Diaz comes across and gives Walker a slap on the back for that defending. Strong.
It was strong. It was. He tried to shield it, but clever play from Kulusevski. He managed to keep it in, and then very good defending from Diaz and Walker.
I think Kyle Walker came in for a little bit of criticism for the way that Manchester City conceded the 2 goals at Newcastle, which I have to say I thought was a little harsh, but you know, he'll know about that. And today he's up against another speedster in Werner.
Yeah, he is, and he hasn't given Werner a kick so far. Kyle Walker knows in a one-on-one race there's not many around that can beat him. Yellow card.
Kulusevski took back by Bernardo Silva, then couldn't find the pass forward, but the referee's bringing it back for the free kick. And Bernardo Silva is being waved over by Paul Tierney. This has got the look of final warning, which is not going to go down well. Kyle Walker is also being asked to come across as the captain. He's not going to get the yellow card out.
No, he's just going to talk to him, but it's a yellow card. You don't need to speak to the captain to say, he's on his last warning. I can understand if he's been booked already. It's a yellow card, John. He pulls him back, Kulusevski.
Free kick only. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Hotspur chasses his way between 2 City players, gives it to Werner. Werner, ball across. Richarlison tried to turn it goalwards. Defender went with him. Excellent defending from Ake it was, who went with Richarlison. The informed Richarlison with 6 goals in his last 7 appearances. But now it's Manchester City who break with Bob. Lovely footwork again from him. Gives it to Kovacic, but then slightly behind Rodri, who was able to slam the brakes on, give it to Bernardo Silva. Now back to Rodri, right foot shot, deflected, comes back Kovacic, that's blocked. Bob, left foot shot, that's blocked. Pedro Porro in the end threw himself, slid across the 6-yard box and made sure it went behind for a corner.
And there's about 20 high fives, but it was brilliant from Man City. Rodri, you're thinking, going to put his foot for it. It's a great block. It comes to Bob. There's Bentancur, there's Porro, there's Romero, there's Richarlison, all getting out there to defend, but it was Porro. Great defending.
Yeah, excellent. Putting the bodies on the line, as they say.
Yep.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. But a corner. So what have Manchester City got organised this time? There's a lot of discussion going on. We've got Ake and Diaz in the 6-yard box. And it could be a short corner. No, it's swept into the near post, and Hotspur comes across and heads it behind for another one. So second consecutive Manchester City corner. Same thing, 2 in the 6-yard box, effectively 2 in the penalty area, Gvardiol and Rodri, and then Bernardo Silva and Kovacic waiting on the edge of the box. So the last one was whipped into the near post. This one also into the near post. Defender did well, got his head to it. Across the box, Richarlison heads it away, and then it's volleyed away by Werner and defended well by Tottenham.
Yeah, they've done well because the balls in from Alvarez are outstanding. He whips them in with pace and cold, but yeah, you get that first contact and good defending from Richarlison.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. 5 Live is the place for the FA Cup this weekend. Very much looking forward to listening to Ipswich Town against Maidstone tomorrow, lunchtime, 12:30. Alistair Bruce Ball and Terry Butcher will be together for that one, the former England captain. Great to have him back on 5 Live for that one. Ipswich Town legend as Kulusevski plays it up towards Richarlison. It bounces forward. Ake will get there first, which he does. The ball bounces up, and actually he's going to struggle to keep it in play. Can't. And it's a throw-in to Tottenham. Referee wants Tottenham to bring it back 10 yards. Yep, so the main commentaries tomorrow, obviously we'll have all of the sport covered, the test match as well, news on that at breakfast time, commentary on the tennis. So Ipswich Maidstone, 12:30, Everton Luton at 3 o'clock, and then Fulham Newcastle at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Test match not going well for England at the moment, is it, John?
No, might be over tomorrow.
I know, definitely.
It might not be. England might stage a stir and come back.
Stokes heroic again.
Yeah. But I have to confess, my hopes are not high.
Me neither.
Hotspur swings it forward, headed down Gvardiol. Bentancur comes across. Ooh, and certainly seemed to hand him off. But that's been warmly received from the Tottenham fans. But Pedro Porro's ball in field wasn't quite right for Richarlison. And cleared by Ortega. Foden went for a first-time pass downfield, but Romero made sure he got in the way of that, and Tottenham played back to Vicario. So despite the fact that Ange Postecoglou has He's gone with the 4 forward players. We've really just not seen them for any sustained period of time, have we?
No, that's because of Man City, the way they're relentless in keeping possession and the way they press. But I think they go in the last 5 minutes, they've grown into the game, Tottenham, where they've been better in possession.
And Tottenham know, everyone knows, that was a lovely turn by Johnson, but he's not going to be able to keep it in. Turned Guardiola very well, but the ball just ran away and he couldn't keep it in, so it's a throw into Manchester City. And
he's unlucky, to be fair, there, because he does turn him. Well, you're right.
He would have been away.
Exactly, he would have been.
But I was going to say, Clinton, we know, they know, everyone knows that Kevin De Bruyne is sitting there on the substitutes bench after what he did when he came on at St James's Park.
I'm sure we'll see him for half an hour tonight, John.
You would think,
and a bit of magic.
A little bit longer, round about the hour. We'll look out for that. Long pass from Diaz downfield. Bob allows it to drop over his shoulder, bouncing down into the full-back position, angles it back. Shot from Foden arriving, but wide by probably 2 yards. And it's a goal kick. It's
a great run from Bob. He spins in behind Porro, and that's because the fullbacks are so high and he cuts it back. Foden's hanging back, but I think Ndogi just does enough to put Foden off, and he drags the shot wide.
Do you know, I've hardly, in terms of goal-scoring opportunities, I've barely made a note.
No, the only one is the Bob offside, really, isn't it? The Vicario save.
And there was the little sequence where there were blocks and blocks and blocks in the Tottenham box, but that's been about it. So, in fact, the statistics do bear that out. Tottenham, no shots on target yet, and Manchester City with 2, as Udogie has fouled just near the halfway line in between the two managers down there. It's a 3-3 draw in the Premier League before Christmas when Kulusevski scored the equaliser. That was an exciting match as Tottenham start to bring it out from the back. But the recent matches here, these 5 matches, have been 0-1, 0-1, 0-2, 0-2, 0-1 in Tottenham's favour. Manchester City with it on the halfway line. Bernardo Silva to Kovacic, and then Bernardo Silva just lifts the ball past Johnson and then allows it to Kovacic, who's off. Strong run from the Croatian, but still in the central third of the field. Turns and gives it back to Walker, who plays it infield to Diaz. And Ake picks out the pass to Guardiola, but it bounced away from him, and Pedro Porro was in. And now Bentancur to Johnson, but Johnson checks back. You wanted him to carry on there, Clinton. Yeah,
he's just not confident enough. He should be going and taking him on. It was Rodri that was tracking him back. Just be positive and believe in yourself.
Brennan Johnson. And so Manchester City in this grey kit have it again in the central third.
John, what do you think of that kit? I was going to ask you earlier.
It's not my favourite.
Yeah,
I prefer Tottenham's.
Yeah, it's a bit bright, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is in areas. I don't mind the pink numbers on the back.
Yeah, I like those. I like the numbers on the back.
I can see them from the moon.
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva playing the ball back into his own half to Ake. I wish Newcastle United wore pink numbers like that on the back of their shirts.
I bet you found that hard last week.
Yeah, I like them in the Champions League. Here's Guardiola chipping the ball to the edge of the area, headed away by Van de Ven. Comes out Højbjerg, and now Alvarez. This is 25 yards out, not cleared by Bentancur, but Van de Ven is there. He's had an excellent night tonight, Van de Ven, so far for Tottenham, as there's a foul on Johnson, challenge from behind by Guardiola, and eventually the referee stops play because it was a bang on the head, I think, for Johnson. So we'll have another stoppage in what is already 6 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. So Chelsea, Aston Villa, they're at the half-time breaks in the other matches, but that is on Sports Extra. Mark Scott and Matt Jarvis are the commentary team at Stamford Bridge. Still 0-0 there, 0-0 Bristol City, Nottingham Forest, and Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know if there's much contact there. I think Brennan Johnson just loses the header and just wants a break, basically. But you have to stop for a head injury because it looked like there was the slightest of contact there, but maybe not enough for him to go down. Yeah. They weren't happy with it, the Man City players, and Diaz always seems to be the one who wants to run 100 yards and get involved.
So it's a stoppage while Johnson receives treatment. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and I'm just saying on my screen here, and this looks very much to me as though we've got some of the stars of the 1981 FA Cup final gathering in the tunnel, because Glenn Hoddle's there and Ozzy Ardiles is there, of course.
Is that Mark Falco, that one?
I think that's, is that not Graham Roberts?
Oh, it might be Mark Falco or Graham Roberts. A good shout, John. We'll have to see.
Yeah, so we'll see them at half time. And I was telling Tony Livesey earlier on Drive this afternoon. It's one of my favourite FA Cup finals.
Yeah.
And I was a schoolboy at the time, Clinton. I know you probably weren't born. Here's Walker down the right-hand side. Walker pushing well forward. Udogie gets back on him. Walker, though, still in possession. Plays it back to the edge of the box. Foden is there on his left foot. Tottenham players around him. Foden keeps possession, then gives it to Rodri, 25 yards out, chip to the left-hand side to Gvardiol. Gvardiol gets it down, he works it back towards Kovacic. Richarlison slips over, Kovacic still in possession. Rodri now middle of the half, but Tottenham are right back in position here. Well drilled, comes back to Walker, but now it's all stationary, and he crosses into Udogie, and it's out of play. So yes, when I was on the way here today, I thought I'm just going to watch the goals back from the 81 FA Cup.
I was born in
final.
81.
Were you
yeah,
really?
I was
in
born.
what month?
I was 2.
In what month were you born?
I was 2 years old.
Oh, you were 2?
Yeah, I was 2.
You were
I was
born.
79. Yeah, I'm a 79
Oh,
baby.
okay.
So yeah, I was 2.
Well,
I was 2 years old.
Yeah, but you don't remember it.
I don't remember it. But I think that's what made me fall in love with Tottenham. Maybe I heard about it.
Here's Walker on the right-hand side. And I have to say, I watched it. It was about 15 minutes, and I watched it with a smile on my face. There were some great moments in there.
Yep.
Tommy Hutchison scored at both ends in the original match. Well, one from a Glenn Hoddle free kick.
Oh, he was some player, Glenn Hoddle.
And then Ricky Villa's.
Oh, Ricky Villa, yeah. That's the goal,
Yeah, so Bob playing it out to the left-hand side. Bob now approaching the edge of the penalty area. The number 52, 20 years old he is. What a great future he's got ahead of him. Here's Kovacic. Kovacic works it to Foden in the edge of the D, then to Alvarez. All very tight, close quarters. Tried to find Walker, and Werner was able to step in and clear it away. Well, we've had 6 minutes of added time, but I think we'll have a little more.
Yeah. Oh no, maybe not.
No, we won't. Well, we should have done for Johnson's injury and added time, but we haven't. So there we are, goalless again. These matches have been tight. Manchester City still haven't scored in this stadium. 0-0, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Man City have been the better team, and obviously it's been last-ditch defending from Tottenham who've done well, and Tottenham have played on the counter-attack. Brennan Johnson's he's been lively on that right-hand side, but can he deliver into the right areas? Timo Werner's been very quiet. I think you need to get the likes of Timo Werner, Kulusevski in this game, because Richarlison and Johnson are doing all right.
Yeah, and as for your promise of goals?
It will come, John, it will come.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0 at half-time.
John, I've got to take you to task a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've mentioned the 1981 final and went through it, but you can't mention that final without talking about Steve McKenzie's goal.
Yeah, brilliant goal, that.
I think it's one of the best cup final goals that nobody ever speaks about.
It was
completely overshadowed by Ricky Viers.
That was to make it 1-1 in the replay.
It was.
I only watched it this afternoon.
Beauty,
yeah.
Absolute beauty.
How old was Fletch? How old are you? 15?
No,
Clint,
yes,
come on.
I'm joking, Fletch. Come on, I missed you.
I
mate.
didn't realise we did this to each other. I thought we were closer than that.
I'm joking, mate. We are close. I'm winding you up.
Hey, you know what?
It wouldn't have been far off 15.
Let's steady on you. Steady on you. You would have been the prefect at my school back then, Big John. That's for sure. Do you know what, Clinton? It says on the screen here, ask one to Clinton and Glenn. I mean, there's not a great deal to ask after that first half, but I do love watching Phil Foden play that central position in that pocket and do everything that he does. I mean, he's a joy to watch when he plays in there.
Yeah, he's outstanding, to be fair. He just got the ball, and I remember Romero comes sprinting out thinking he's going to turn one way. He turns the other way, yeah, and he's been outstanding. He does get into little pockets, and as we said, Kevin De Bruyne, the main man's back. Phil Foden, stay in them kind of areas. I don't think so. I think he'll go and play wide when De Bruyne is back, but he's an outstanding player. But it just needs a goal, Fletch, and City have dominated, but you got to credit Tottenham. They defended ever so well so far.
Clinton, John, thank you. Second half commentary to come then from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 0-0 between Spurs and Manchester City. I mean, it's all set up, Glenn, isn't it, for James Maddison on one side and Kevin De Bruyne on the other at some stage tonight?
Well, I think it's pretty much crying out for them, to be honest, Fletch, especially from a Spurs point of view. I think the fans will be buzzing to see Maddison back, and the strikers around him will be just as delighted. I think they just need a little bit more going forward, and that's what Postecoglou will be asking for second half, I'm sure.
Yeah, Alan says the offside law's mad. The City goal should have stood. The fact that a foot or an arm deems you offside is bonkers. Need to get back to whole body. Tom said, I'm not a City fan, but the fact the goal was ruled out because he's a size 9, not a size 7 is insane. The rule's sucking the life out of the game. And David said, it seems you risk being offside if you don't cut your fingernails in the morning. I was trying to work out on the screen. It was half the length of his foot. So what's that? 3.5, 4 inches?
I suppose it depends how big his foot is.
I suppose it does. He looked like that's a very good point. It looked like he got quite normal-sized feet, so that would be about that, maybe. Anyway, it's a very good point you make. I'd not taken into account just how big his feet actually are. Anyway, this is 5 Live Sports. Second half commentary to come. 0-0 between Spurs and Manchester City. Let's update the 7:45 kickoffs in the FA Cup fourth round. They're into the second half now. Chelsea Villa, Henry Moran.
5 minutes into that second half, Chelsea 0, Villa 0. Disallowed goal for Villa in the first half, but Chelsea have been the dominant side. Not sure how they've not taken the lead. Same sort of pattern at the start of the second half. Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
Bristol City playing Forest as well tonight. Chris Coles.
It's 0-0. We're 6 minutes into the second half here. Forest, who lacked any sort of creativity in that first half, have introduced Morgan Gibbs-White at half-time, and immediately they've looked much more threatening. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
And Tom Gale's watching Sheffield Wednesday against Coventry at Hillsborough.
Where we do have an FA Cup goal, Darren. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. Debutant Victor Torp with a stunning strike in the 45th minute, 30 yards out, looped over the 18-year-old Wednesday keeper Piers Charles, who's making his senior debut. Don't believe me? Check it out on the BBC Sports social media. We played 6 minutes in the second half. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
I hope you realise how fortunate you are, Tom. You're the only reporter tonight or commentator with a goal. I hope you're
Send me where the
appreciating
goals
that.
are, Darren. I'll stick to that.
Absolutely. So Tom Gale does have a goal. No goals anywhere else tonight in the fourth round of the FA Cup. The big news in football today is that Jurgen Klopp's announced his decision to leave his role as Liverpool manager at the end of the season. If you missed our chat on 5 Live earlier, you can catch it in a special Football Daily podcast, which will be out later on this evening. Plenty of discussion, including from former Liverpool winger Steve McManaman, who said Klopp had similarities to Anfield legend Bill Shankly from the moment he arrived in 2015.
I think, like Bill Shankly, you know, he spoke very well, didn't he? He was extremely charismatic. He said great one-liners. He animated himself, which I think appealed to the Liverpool supporters. I think that really appealed to the people. He said the right things, even though he was from Germany, of course, came from Mainz. He said the right thing to the people of Liverpool, the supporters, the people who worked in the city. And he seemed to, as one of the people who I listened to before, you know, he really got the people, didn't he? And the people got him in such a short space of time.
Glenn Murray will reflect on that and the first half of Spurs against Manchester City. Second half commentary to come imminently on 5 Live. First, the news from Giuliano Cassaday.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The highest court of the United Nations has ordered Israel to take emergency measures in Gaza as part of a case brought by South Africa. The judges stopped short of demanding a full ceasefire, but told Israel it had to immediately allow more urgently needed aid into the territory. Andrew Feinstein is a former member of the National Assembly of South Africa.
I think it will make it quite difficult for Israel's allies, including the US, the UK and other weapons-producing European countries, from continuing to sell weapons into the ongoing conflict, because now the court has ruled that there is the plausibility of the risk of genocide being committed, and that creates an entirely different legal environment.
An oil tanker is reported to be on fire in the Gulf of Aden after being struck by a missile claimed by Yemen's Houthis. US officials say a nearby naval ship is responding to the vessel's distress signal and no injuries have been reported. A BBC investigation has found more than 60 calls were made to police and social services over a 3-year period before a 9-year-old boy was killed by his mother and her partner at his home in the West Midlands. A safeguarding report into Alfie Steele's death highlighted a catalogue of missed opportunities by professionals. Downing Street says it will take extremely seriously revelations that the government was complicit in a decision by the Post Office to sack forensic accountants who found bugs in its Horizon software. Unredacted minutes from a meeting in 2014 show members of the Post Office board were concerned the discoveries would lead to claims of wrongful convictions after hundreds of branch managers were jailed for theft and fraud because of the programme. And Jurgen Klopp says he has no regrets after announcing he'll leave Liverpool at the end of the season. Dan Christian is from the Liverpool podcast Cop and Fracas.
Watched the video this morning thinking it was just going to be him signing a 2-year extension to his contract. You couldn't pick a more Liverpool manager than Jurgen Klopp. He embodies everything that the football club is and everything that the city is. So losing Jurgen Klopp, the manager, is a loss in itself, but losing Jurgen Klopp, the man, is even bigger.
And that's Dan Christian from the Cop and Fracas podcast.
This remains one of the toughest processes around.
On BBC iPlayer.
I need you to create a virtual escape room.
The Apprentice is back.
So excited to be here in Budapest.
I want you to launch a new Formula E team.
Every second counts!
You lost me money.
Sorry, guys. Shush. Just tell the truth.
You've been using crumble. The fish cake.
You kidding?
The Apprentice.
You're fired.
Starts tomorrow on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sport with Darren Fletcher
on 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
So second half commentary to come of Tottenham against Manchester City with John and Clinton, 0-0 at half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Before we head back, though, the Forest Green Rovers owner Dale Vince has said that one of the reasons behind the sacking of Troy Deeney was his threat to punch a fourth official. Vince has been speaking to the 72 Plus podcast with Aaron Paul and Joby McAnuff.
Now, I've got to come on to the recent manager who was appointed, or head coach that was appointed and then let go in Troy Deeney. Obviously, it hasn't gone the way that anyone there would have wanted it to. Do you think it was just too early for him, maybe in terms of his managerial or lack of managerial experience? And really, what made you come to that decision after so few games? Because for someone who has taken up that role as a player manager and was given an opportunity at a football club, I certainly wouldn't say 6 games was long enough. Yes, there was some mistakes that he's held his hands up to along the way, but do you think that was a long enough period? Did you see enough in that to sort of feel that was long enough in charge to do what he wanted to do?
Yeah, I understand. Let me start with your first question. Was it too early? Yes, I think it was. But when Troy joined us in the summer, we made a commitment to him that he could have the vacancy when it next came up. Now, we all thought that would be a couple of years away. And so it made sense for Troy to have that couple of years experience with us as a coach, as well as a player, and be ready for when, we next made the change. We expected Dave Horseman to go on to a bigger club in a couple of years' time, quite frankly. But that change came 6 months later. I don't think Troy was ready. But we kept our word and we gave him a shot. Now, 6 games is not long enough. And I don't think we've ever changed coach after just 6 games. I think we're a famously patient club, quite often patient to our own detriment. But it wasn't just 3 points in 6 games and 3 red cards, one of which came for Troy himself. It was the outburst against our players after the Harrogate game last Saturday. The Saturday before, which was brutal. It was incredible, unprecedented, I believe, in football, and that was behaviour from Troy. That was bad behaviour. And then the red card itself last Thursday, the FA ruled on that, gave him a 4-match ban, which meant he couldn't take the next 4 games. And the reason for the ban was abusive and threatening language, and the threat was to punch in the head the 4th official, and that really was the last straw. When we looked at it in the round, poor performance, abuse of the players in public, and then threatening violence to match day officials. None of that we could accept as a club. So he had to go.
In a statement from Troy Deeney's agent, he said Troy Deeney strongly disputes the reasons given by Dale Vince for his dismissal, with his agent saying that claims he abused players or threatened violence to an official are incorrect and seriously defamatory. You can listen to more on the 72 Plus podcast, which is available right now on BBC Sounds. Elsewhere, Kelvin Phillips has completed his loan move to West Ham until the end of the season. There's no option to buy as part of the deal, though. And Sheffield United have signed goalkeeper Ivo Grbic from Atletico Madrid for an undisclosed fee on a contract until 2027. And Chelsea women have signed Levante striker Mayra Ramirez for a British record fee of €450,000 plus up to €50,000 in add-ons. Away from the football, Novak Djokovic has been beaten in the Australian Open for the first time in 6 years. As Yannick Sinner reached his first Grand Slam final, the defending champion said he wasn't happy with his own performance.
He outplayed me completely today. Look, I was in a way shocked with my level, in a bad way. I mean, not much I was doing right in the first 2 sets. And I guess this is one of the worst Grand Slam matches I've ever played.
Yannick Sinner will face Daniil Medvedev in the men's final on Sunday. Before that, it's the women's final. Aryna Sabalenka takes on Yung Shin Wen, and you'll be able to listen to that match on 5 Live from 8:30 in the morning. Cricket, and England are up against it after day 2 of the first test. India have a lead of 175 runs. England's spinners did have some success with the ball, including Jack Leach, who suffered a knee injury on day one. Here's England's spin coach Geetan Patel on managing Leach's fitness.
He's never going to shirk the responsibility of the job he has, but it's also about being smart. We've got 5 test matches to play, we've got another innings to bowl at the back end of this game, so we need a key man like Jack, and his job isn't to hold an end up, his job's to take wickets and to make sure he's always looking for opportunities to take wickets.
And you can listen to commentary of day 3 from 3:30am on Sports Extra. So second half commentary to come from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium shortly. 0-0 between Spurs and Manchester City. Let's update the 7:45 kickoffs in the FA Cup 4th round. Starting at Stamford Bridge, Henry Moran.
Chelsea 0, Villa 0, just past the hour mark. Quite a second half than we saw in the first. Douglas Luiz for Villa with a cross-come shot that was well watched by Petrovic to his left. But it remains Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
Bristol City, Nottingham Forest, Chris Coles.
Is still 0-0, but the opening goal feels close. A couple of good chances apiece. Firstly, Forest, Morgan Gibbs-White, who's totally transformed Nottingham Forest, lifting the ball to Chris Wood, couldn't generate any power with his header. And at the other end, Jason Knight couldn't quite latch on to a back post cross. Good game, but still Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
And we're spoiling Tom Gale tonight. He's actually seen a goal.
Yes, Darren. Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. Torp's first half strike the difference. Both sides threatening to add the scoreline as we tick past the hour mark. Wednesday's Ikpe Ugbo with a mazy dribble from the edge of the box. His shot struck the post, where it is Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
Thank you, Tom. Glenn Murray with me. We'll rejoin Clinton Morrison and John Murray shortly for the second half of Tottenham against Manchester City. What do you want to see from the respective teams in the second half here, Glenn, to get this game really going? Because there one or two nice passages of play, but clear-cut goal-scoring chances really have been few and far between.
Well, I think as far as Manchester City are concerned, it'll be more of the same, and they've got obviously Kevin De Bruyne to introduce to try and just tip that balance a little bit more. Jack Grealish also. I think from a Spurs point of view, Postecoglou will be a little bit more frustrated with that first half. He'll want to see more from his side going forward.
Yeah, I think as well, when you look at what's available on the bench, you've got Maddison for Tottenham, you've got De Bruyne, as you mentioned, for Manchester City. I can't wait to see what they look like when they've got Foden and De Bruyne on the pitch together, based on what we've seen Foden do this season. I'm fascinated to see how Pep Guardiola manages to get them both in the positions where they can really do damage.
Well, if anyone can, Fletch, it's Pep, isn't it? He will make it work somehow, and every time Kevin De Bruyne comes on the pitch, he has a positive impact, and I'm sure that he'll want to keep that up. I mean, since he's returned from return to fitness, should I say, he's been exceptional every time he's stepped foot on, and I'm sure he'll want to keep that up this afternoon.
Well, the teams are coming out for the second half at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so let's rejoin the commentary team. John Murray alongside Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Tottenham players just coming out in dribs and drabs. Manchester City are already out there. Don't think there are going to be any changes, so Tottenham as they started with Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Udogie, then Højbjerg and Bentancur, Johnson, Kulusevski, Werner and Richarlison. Maddison's on the bench. We might see him in the second half. James Maddison coming back. And Manchester City, Ortega in goal, Walker, Diaz, Ake and Gvardiol, Rodri, Foden, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Bob and Alvarez. There goes the whistle. Second half begins. You know, it was certainly watchable enough, Clinton Morrison, in the first half, as the ball's played back for Van der Ven, who's able to pass it across to Romero on the edge of the area. But really not a great deal in terms of clear goal-scoring opportunities, so we're looking for a little bit more of that in the second half.
Yeah, the football was good at times, in particular from Man City. I think Postecoglou would be disappointed the way Tottenham played in that first half. They could play a lot better, but you're right, there wasn't a lot of goal-mouth action, and that's why it was, John. Really attractive football into that final third, but good defending from Tottenham.
Yeah, and neither of these two clubs' top scorers currently are involved. Haaland's obviously still out. They say he'll be back in midweek against Burnley. And Son obviously away at the Asia Cup, so he's a big miss for Tottenham.
And they are missing Son. And listen, any team would miss Haaland. Haaland's unbelievable, to be fair. One of the best strikers there is in world football, and Son is world class, one of the best as well. So both teams are missing top quality strikers.
So off we go in the second half. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0 in the second minute. Can be a replay in this round still. Fifth round will be midweek, incidentally, if that had passed you by. The draw for the fifth round will be on Sunday afternoon round about 2 o'clock. So Richarlison just collecting the ball and then playing it back to Van de Ven, and their pass back to Vicario, and it's given back to the goalkeeper, the Italian goalkeeper, who was saying before the Manchester United game in a lengthy series of interviews of how he would have cut himself and signed in blood to come to Tottenham Hotspur. He's been excellent this season though. Manchester City with the ball at the back, with Diaz, who goes back to their goalkeeper, Ortega, left-footed clearance from him through the middle. Kovacic chests it off to Foden, playing in the central area. Now the ball to the right-hand side. Here's the captain, Walker. Then Kovacic takes it up. Kovacic has passed through to the edge of the box. Udogie gets there first ahead of Walker, and goalkeeper Vicario clears to Kulusevski. Kevin De Bruyne is warming up down by the corner flag. We reckon round about the hour mark, Clinton?
Yeah, I would think you want to build more minutes into Kevin De Bruyne. Now, obviously, you was there, but when the impact he had on the Newcastle game, can he have the same impact this evening?
That's Clinton Morrison with us for the commentary on 5 Live tonight. Well over 600 matches as a professional. Here is Alvarez in the centre circle. Alvarez working it to the left-hand side. Guardiola now takes it up. He's got Bob to his left. Guardiola square from him. Bernardo Silva looks over his shoulder, then plays the ball to Foden on the edge of the box, and for once he miscontrolled it, but very congested in there on the edge of the box. Groans, City have got it back. Bob with a cross to the back post. Alvarez controls and shoots wide.
I don't know how he's missed that, John.
Well, Van de Ven was diving in.
Oh, he's blocked it, Van de Ven.
He's got a touch on it,
because he's gone for a corner. It's fantastic defender. I don't think Alvarez should give him that opportunity. Poor play from Bentancur, great ball from Bob. And you're just thinking, no, it's a great defending, Van de Ven. I think it's bubbling up, and Alvarez controls it. He tries to get his shot away, but really good defending, Van de Ven.
Yeah, slid in, and that's yet another block in what has been a match of blocks. Tottenham block spur. Corner from the right-hand side. Alvarez cleared away at the near post. Still bouncing on the corner of the penalty area. Rodri was getting a shirt pulled there, but Rodri then back to the right, across from Alvarez, but Van de Ven is there again in the right place at the right time. Yeah, almost Van Dijk-like.
He's been outstanding,
in the right
to
place
be fair.
so
He's
often.
the best centre-half they've got here, and that's why they brought in Dragusin to put pressure on Romero, because Van de Ven won't be dropped because he's outstanding.
No more Eric Dyer, of course. Now at Bayern Munich. There's a nice article in the match programme tonight. Eric Dyer saying his thank yous to the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. Manchester City with Foden. Foden then back to Rodri. Then Kovacic over the top. That's headed away. It's Van de Ven again, almost inevitably. The way that this match has played out, it just has the feeling that Van de Ven is going to end up as the man of the match, which could mean a replay.
Yeah.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Manchester City, who failed to score in just 2 away games this season, as the ball goes all the way back to goalkeeper Ortega, who chips it out to the far side.
He can play, John Ortega, by the way, right and left foot. He can play. His distribution from the back's been outstanding so far this evening.
As Manchester City played back towards Bernardo Silva, then Ortega out. Bernardo Silva again. Centrally, Bernardo Silva just bringing the ball over towards this side of the field, but then going back, all left foot of course, and then gets his legs taken away from him by Johnson. So a free kick to Manchester City, halfway inside their own half. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, well into the second half, and the other 3 ties being played tonight. We'll go round them again in a moment, but Bob playing the ball down the line to Alvarez. Alvarez early ball behind Foden inside the penalty area, nearly fell to Guardiola, and then the challenge came in. I think it was Hojbjerg in there who was able to put that challenge in and clear it out for a corner from the left-hand side for City.
You're right, John. Good play, and Guardiola was in. It was a good ball from Alvarez. Foden looked like he might have been offside, but the tackle from Hojbjerg's been outstanding. He's been good for Tottenham in midfield tonight as well.
So the corner from Alvarez again, still 0-0. Alvarez waiting to take this, raises his left arm, then the delivery into the near post yet again. That's been the line of attack from the corners, but Bentancur was able to comfortably watch it onto his forehead and head it wide of the near post from only a yard next to the line. So again, Alvarez. Oscar Bob just standing to his right, so the option is there of a short one, but Alvarez again into the near post. That's hooked away quite cleverly by Pedro Porro, and then a slip from Foden, but did very well actually under pressure from Kulusevski to find the pass infield towards Kovacic. And then Manchester City go all the way back to Ortega. So let's go round the other matches then. We're starting at Hillsborough this time. Tom Gale
It is Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. John, so far a dream debut for Victor Torp. His stunning goal the difference. The Danes now watching on from the bench as Sheffield Wednesday continue to push hard for an equaliser, but they're yet to work the visiting Ben Wilson in goal. It is Wednesday 0, Coventry 1.
Choice of FA Cup commentary matches on 5 Live tonight because the Chelsea-Villa game is on Sports Extra right now. We'll go there in a moment, but Gvardiol passing the ball forward, took a deflection, and Tottenham have got it back inside their own half. Not sure what Højbjerg was trying to do there with a little flick. He just gave the ball back to Manchester City. So to Stamford Bridge, Henry Moran.
20 left of the 90 minutes. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. Massive chance for Chelsea. Martinez's kick straight at Cole Palmer. He had time to take a touch, tried to volley it, made a mess of it. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0.
Tottenham looking to break with Kulusevski, who's just tripped there by Kovacic, who's wagging his finger, and referee Tierney agrees with him, doesn't give the free kick, so Manchester City can come forward. It's not gone down well. Udogie though is able to step in and give it to Werner, and Werner now slips a pass through. Johnson could be onto this, but Ortega came out at his feet and was able to block it with his body. Decent save.
It's good goalkeeping, to be fair. It's brilliant play from Timo Werner, and you're thinking Johnson just needs to dink that over the goalie, and he's really unlucky, but you got to credit Ortega. I think it's brilliant goalkeeping. His starting position, he smothers the angle.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was really quick and decisive.
And he is a very agile goalkeeper, and here he is again coming across his penalty area to receive the pass that came through from Pedro Porro. Yeah, Johnson just couldn't get there.
No, he couldn't, and he's probably one of the quickest in this Tottenham team, but it was good play from Timo Werner on that left-hand side, John.
Yes, it was. It was a lovely pass through from him as well, incidentally. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. And is it still Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0? Chris Coles.
It is, with 19 minutes to play. It remains a very energetic game between both boxes, but there's very little action in them, and as such both keepers have not had a single save to make. Bristol City 0, Forest 0.
Werner with a cross, it hit Diaz. They're shouting for handball. VAR will have a look. It's come out to Romero. Now to the right-hand side. Pedro Porro turns, crosses, right-footed, but that is headed away by Rodri this time. Well, Romero's gone to the referee, and Richarlison as well. Not like Richarlison.
It's absolutely, watching the replay, Diaz's hands behind his back and his nose doesn't move it. It's never going to be a penalty.
I'm not sure who Richarlison thinks he's going to persuade.
Well, he wants to talk to the captain now, Romero, because Richarlison spoke too much. Very unusual, that, isn't it, John?
Never seen that before. Only frequently. And of course, for the FA Cup now, not only do we have the video assistant referee Tim Robinson and the assistant video assistant referee Simon Bennett, but we also have the support video assistant referee Jared Gillett. So there are 3 of them at Stockley
So
Park
one has
on
to
this
get it
match.
right out of 3, don't they, John?
Richarlison thinks he knows better.
Me and you need a day out of the VAR, John.
I've had a day out at the VAR.
Yeah, but I need to do it. We need to go together so we can see how many we get right and wrong.
Should we do our podcast on that?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, everyone else is doing a podcast. How have me and you not got one yet?
I don't know it.
Well, if you're listening, bosses, let's make it happen. John Murray and Clinton Morrison podcast.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City. No, I'm too busy for that. As Rodri passes the ball up towards Rodri. Too busy to listen to them, never mind do them.
Yeah.
Here is Gvardiol on the left-hand side, up towards the halfway line. Right-footed ball across field, but Werner stretching for it. Can't get there. In any case, he didn't get a touch, so it's a throw in to Tottenham. 10 minutes gone in the second half. We're still waiting for the opening goal of a tie that looked to have goals all over it. Udogie now for Tottenham.
I think we're getting closer though, John. We are getting closer. Even Tottenham are coming into this game and causing problems.
And of course, listeners, yes, exactly that.
Yes, the bench.
There is De Bruyne and Maddison, I'm sure, well, certainly De Bruyne. We'll see about Maddison. Here's Van de Ven at the back. Van de Ven turns, does well, finds the pass to Udogie, who's in the central area, and then Kovacic bowls into Udogie. And it's a yellow card for Kovacic.
It is, but Udogie gets his head up there. Brennan Johnson's in on the right-hand side, because you know why, John? It's the first time that Tottenham have beat Man City's press. The ball from Van de Ven into Udogie is fantastic, and he picks up pockets. If he can get his head up, I think Brennan Johnson is in, but as you would say in football, it's a good foul from Kovacic.
So a yellow card for the Croatian. Free kick to Tottenham. Manchester City who've, in all matches, have failed to score in only 3 of 32. But no Haaland still today, but mind you, without Haaland recently, it's been no Haaland, no problem. Missed the last 9 matches. The deadly Norwegian. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, and Tottenham going all the way back to their goalkeeper Vicario. Manchester City, they failed to score at Aston Villa and Arsenal in the league away from home, and also actually failed to score at Newcastle in the Carabao Cup as well. So 3 matches away from home they failed to score. Here's Romero, plays the ball off Bob and wins a throw-in level with the edge of his own penalty area. The replays would be the midweek after next. So Tottenham with the throw to Richarlison, but Gvardiol challenged for it. Gvardiol again, Bob, quick feet again from him to stab it forward, comes back to Gvardiol, who goes back into his own half. Ake is chasing this and plays it across towards Ruben Diaz, and now Rodri under pressure from Bentancur. Didn't like that, Rodri. Bentancur was onto him. I think there's a little bit of trying to wind up Rodri because of recent events. As the ball is played back, they don't miss much, these footballers, do they? Ortega playing it for Bob, flicking it on, and then Romero piles into the challenge on Bob, and the offside flag was up against Richarlison, so a free kick. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0.
There was only one winner there, wasn't it, John? He was taking everything, Romero. He wasn't letting Bob get control of that. But you can see they're all warming up. Jack Grealish, Doku, De Bruyne, Maddison. I think City's bench, you look at City's bench, you look at Tottenham and you think Maddison's the one who can come on. You look at City, there are 3 or 4, John, who can make a difference in this game.
Ake slips as he takes this free kick forward. It's taken down by Kyle Walker out there on the far side. Udogie goes close. Infield to Bernardo Silva. Now Rodri closer to the centre circle. And the big man, the Spaniard, is able just to tap it to his left to Kovacic. And then Kovacic works it forward, but too much on that, and Udogie was able to control it. It's away from Foden. Now Vicario, the Tottenham goalkeeper, as the Tottenham supporters crank up the noise. If you weren't listening earlier, 9,000 Manchester City fans inside this great stadium tonight. The away fans. Bernardo Silva was caught there by Udogie. He was just taking it away from Udogie, who clipped him, and I think that might be it. Yes, it is a yellow card for Udogie. So that levels it up on the bookings front. Free kick to...
Sometimes I think you know as a player, John, you know why? And Dougie goes over and sees out Bernardo Silva, so he probably knows, watching a replay, how late he was. And you know what? It is a yellow card. He truds on the top of his ankle.
Yeah, he couldn't complain about that. Ball had gone, stepped on the top of his foot, so it's a free kick. We had great 1981 nostalgia at half-time. It was actually Glenn Hoddle, Ozzy Ardiles, Graham Robertson, Paul Miller were the 4 Tottenham players from the 81 final who came on and were interviewed by Paul, the announcer, at half-time. Some great images of 81 on the screens inside the stadium as well, and we did indeed see the Steve McKenzie goal on the big screen. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Free kick is taken now. Walker back to Ake. Ake with that long hair tied up, bobbing behind him. Johnson forces him to play it to Diaz, and Manchester City go back to their goalkeeper Ortega. Ederson is among the substitutes after he took that bash at St James's Park. Højbjerg as well finds Werner now running at Bernardo Silva, actually. Werner into the penalty area and then slips it across, but Diaz is able to clear it away. Walker was caught upfield, so Bernardo Silva had to do the defending there against Werner. But City have done well. There have not been too many opportunities when Werner's had the chance to run at them.
No, you're right. Yeah, they have done well, City.
Pedro Porro, now to Bentancur. Pass forward, bounces back to Bentancur. Bentancur again, to his right to Johnson. Johnson's low ball across, just behind Richarlison, who had to turn away at the back post. But it is the Brazilian Richarlison who is on the ball now, and he works it across, and a flick forward from Kulusevski. They're shouting for a penalty, no chance.
No, he doesn't even appeal at all. Rodri's the man closest to him, but there's hardly any contact. But good play again from Bentancur. And Brennan Johnson, I think it's a good ball. I think everyone goes ahead of that near post. If someone holds back, they've got to finish on that 6-yard box, John.
Just looking down to my left, because we are past the hour mark, so the substitutions cannot be too far away. Tottenham win the ball back in the Manchester City defensive third.
He's still got the booklet.
He's brought it back for a free kick when Kulusevski could have broken through. Well, you can hear the frustration.
John, it's 2-on-1 there. He's actually in. It's a great opportunity. I can't see why he's brought that back. And if he's going to do that, he's going to have to book Carl Walker, because it's the same as what Ndogi done on Bernardo Silva.
I'm not sure he's going to, is he? Yeah, that's just for a referee, it's an unfortunate call. If Paul Tierney had his time again there, he'd play the advantage.
Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, you're right, John. Yeah.
It's a little bit like the incident at Manchester City when it was Simon Hooper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When Haaland went over to him and was going mad. Yeah, you're right.
That's what they'd tell us, Clinton, if we went to Stockley Park together.
Yeah, that's what they would say, I know.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. A free kick for Spurs in front of that massive stand, which is absolutely packed. Tottenham fans, you'll hear about it if Spurs go 1-0 up against the holders here. It's going to be played in from the left-hand side. Here's the delivery, right-footed, but Kovacic is able to readjust. He actually almost collided with Diaz, but was able to clear it away. Here is Kulusevski on the left-hand side. Werner is there as well. Pedro Porro, the free kick taker, wanted it, but actually it goes back to Udogie on the halfway line. So we are now into the last half hour of this FA Cup fourth round tie. Johnson, nice turn across the edge of the area. Romero overhits it horribly with his left foot all the way through for a goal kick, and that releases the pressure.
Wrong player in the wrong position, to be fair. You probably want someone like a Bentancur trying to do that pass. So, yeah, good play though. And you're right, John, you did call it, and it's Kevin De Bruyne and Doku time.
Yeah, and Doku as well. So it's a double change for Pep Guardiola. Jeremy Doku, he's shown faith in Oscar Bob today. Well, he started both of the FA Cup ties for Manchester City in actual fact. Oh, that's a bang of heads, Rodri and Romero. It was a bouncing ball, they both went for it, and I think Romero headed the head of Rodri, who's stayed on his feet, and he's actually immediately gone across there, Rodri, to see how Romero is, and I think he's okay. Yeah, quickly up on his feet.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing though, Rodri. He knows he's not getting it, so he just turns his body into it. So he knows it's clever. It's clever from Rodri.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Clinton. He sort of turned into it. I might even have caught him with his the top of his shoulder as opposed to his head. I think he did. So De Bruyne out waiting to come on. Pep Guardiola, as we see so often. Oh no, Pedro Porro, that has wasted the free kick. He thought Johnson was going to make the run. Johnson checked back, Pedro played it, and effectively just passed it through for a goal kick.
Yeah, I don't know if he's saying he was waiting for the whistle to go on Brendan Johnson. He's going to Paul Tierney, but yeah, it went horribly wrong.
So here we are, the changes, first two changes of the match, and it is Oscar Bob. He'll be disappointed, the young Norwegian. It hasn't worked out today in the way that it did at St James's Park. A little bit of a shame in terms of the spectacle that we don't see De Bruyne and Bob on the field at the same time.
No, you're right, but you're going to see De Bruyne and Foden, because Alvarez is the one who's coming off. They're only centre forward, so yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. So it'll probably be Phil Foden through the middle as that false number 9.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So here we are then. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. The Manchester City supporters are singing. 3 matches back. Come on as a substitute in all 3. Got a goal and an assist at St James's Park. And here he is into the action with that longer hair now. Kevin De Bruyne gets a first touch. Here is Foden, as Clinton Morrison says. Foden through the middle, passes it out to Doku, who slips over as he chases the ball. And then Porro got there first, and well, the home supporters think that Doku fouled Pedro Porro, but only a throw-in given. And Postecoglou stands arms raised, turns away, shaking his head, and puts his hands back in his pockets. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. A second goal of the night at Hillsborough. Tom Gale.
It's flooding goals, John, but it's Sheffield Wednesday who've equalised. Wednesday 1, Coventry 0. It's Gassama who's been a real threat all night. It's a scruffy finish, but he won't care. It's in off the post. Wednesday 1, Coventry 1.
Foden with a cross that hit Van der Ven and looped in the air. I thought it might spin in. Now, ball chipped across the box. That's cleared away by Pedro Porro. But Manchester City back in possession. He had space there, Foden on the left-hand side inside the box.
I'll be honest with you, John, when it deflected off Van der Ven, I thought it was going over for Vicario into that far corner, but yeah, these two have livened it up. Doku looks sharp on the left-hand side.
Yes, as you'd expect. Jeremy Doku who had that little spell out, as I say, started at St James's Park, but at times he's been electric this season. But here is Kulusevski, who has, well, defenders all over him. Diaz has gone out here to what is the Tottenham right wing, and the ball bounced out of play, but Diaz collapsed on top of Kulusevski and concedes the free kick.
Yeah, it's a foul. Kulusevski's read him. Diaz has got there and he's trying to be clever, and Kulusevski reads it, and it is a foul. He's then pulled him to the ground. Good play from Kulusevski.
Well, I remember at the end of last season when Manchester City were triumphant in Istanbul, inevitably to the manager the question comes, well, what next? And Pep Guardiola's comment was something along the lines of, well, you have to go and try and do it again. Well, the FA Cup holders are being held 0-0 here. Pedro Porro with the free kick, that's much better over everyone in the middle of the box, and Walker was able to clear, and then the pass is overhit from Højbjerg, and that bounces out of play for a throw-in to Manchester City. It's the final ball for Tottenham, has not been anywhere near good enough. So we've had a couple of changes for Manchester City. Are we going to see James Maddison, Clinton?
He was warming up, but he's gone back and sat back down there, so maybe you might see him in the last 15 minutes of the game.
As Manchester City take the throw, it's back to Ortega, who cleared a little awkwardly, so Spurs have got it just outside the box. It's lifted over the top for Johnson. Johnson then hooks it across, headed away though for Diaz, and actually the offside flag belatedly goes up against Johnson, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. So we've got a quarter of the match left. This Emirates FA Cup 4th round tie. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. In fact, all the matches tonight are level. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 1. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. The commentary on that match is on Sports Extra. Mark Scott and Matt Jarvis. And Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. And those other matches all 7:45 kickoffs. Many more commentaries to come this weekend, 5 Live and Sports Extra. The tennis final from Melbourne at breakfast time from 8:30 after weekend breakfast, as the ball bounces back to Vicario, who passes it out from the back, and it's just kept in play. No, it's not kept in play. Manchester City supporters enjoying that one.
Put your foot through it, John. I don't understand Vicario. There's no one there. He needs to put his foot through it. Trying to play too much.
Cross De Bruyne, but it's spilled by Vicario, but fortunately there was no one there, and he was able to chase after it 3 or 4 yards and gather it. The Tottenham goalkeeper, he hasn't done too much wrong this season. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Yes, 12:30 tomorrow, don't miss Ipswich Town against George Elokobi's Maidstone. I'm sure we'll hear from him in the morning. Here's Doku through to Kevin De Bruyne, who clips it across. I think the ball might have been out of play before he did, so it was. The assistant's flag goes up, and it is a goal kick. 20 minutes to go, Clinton.
Yeah, you're right about George Elokobi. We wish him all the best. He's done a good job at Maidstone, you're right. And this game needs a goal, John.
It does.
We can't have a 0-0. Surely not. Tottenham and Man City 0-0. Who would have predicted that? I was coming here full of excitement. It's been a good game, but we need a goal. Well,
De Bruyne's just come onto the field, and I think a cheer because Maddison's getting ready. We'll have to get that snood off first. But he's doing that forthwith. Here's Richarlison pulled back by Diaz. Yeah, free kick. Yeah. Free kick for Tottenham. Diaz backs away. Referee blows the whistle. Yep, yellow card is out. You're right. Yellow card. Another booking for Manchester City, for Ruben Diaz, but that means play comes back. But yep, James Maddison about to make his comeback after over 2.5 months out. Still 0-0.
John, it's either Johnson or Werner, isn't it? It's one or the other. And then Kulusevski pushes out to one of them wide areas.
Johnson?
Could be, because Kulusevski likes playing on the right, but could it be Timo Werner? He hasn't played loads of football, has he?
No.
So,
free kick in the centre circle. Romero has mishit that, and it's kept in play on the far side. It was behind Werner, it was kept in by Walker, and Walker's now off at pace, playing it through to De Bruyne. First time pass from him, looking for Foden in the middle, but it was beyond him. Foden though is able to reach it, play it back to Doku. Doku in the box on the left hand side. Doku then back to De Bruyne, edge of the area. Now back to Rodri. Rodri's looking for the pass to Walker. A leaping Udogi is able to cut it out, and he's managed to find the pass with that to Richarlison, and Richarlison's off down the left wing, being tackled by Bernardo Silva and dispossessed rather easily.
It could be Werner, because he can't get up to support him, to be fair. So it's one of the. There's a double sub though. It could be Skip, so it could be both wingers coming up.
And then Foden has gone down under a challenge centre field. I think Van der Ven with that free kick in the centre circle. Yeah, Oliver Skipp with James Maddison. But not yet. Free kick is taken. It's still 0-0 here at the Tottenham Stadium, the sparkling home of Tottenham Hotspur, 8 times FA Cup winners. Kovacic, infield to Rodri. Manchester City trying to do this season what Tottenham have done twice before, to win the FA Cup in successive years. It's out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line, and it is Johnson who makes way first. Oliver Skipp coming on actually before James Maddison. But it's Bentancur.
Hasn't played a lot of football, has he? But I'm still surprised. No. I thought he would have probably stayed on there. He's the best midfielder they've got there.
Just back Bentancur. But he's off, and James Maddison, Tottenham's number 10, makes his return. He's missed the last 11 matches with an ankle injury, and after his excellent early season play, that's the reason for the ovation at the return of James Maddison of Tottenham and England. But here is Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City and Belgium, who finds his pass intercepted by Oliver Skipp. And Skipp to Højbjerg. Skipp continues his forward run. He's got Kulusevski now on the right-hand side, but the ball goes infield to Maddison. The crowd level raises as Maddison receives it, but the challenge is put in on him. De Bruyne passes it forward. That's via a deflection, but Vicario will come out. So we've got 2 great creators on the field now.
Yeah, we have, to be fair. Listen, they're both not going to be up to 100%, but they've still got enough quality to make something happen.
Double change for both. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Still Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0 over at Stamford Bridge. Still Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Still Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 1. All of the reaction in what I'm sure will be a Klopp-heavy 5 Live Football Daily podcast in the morning. But I'm imagining that we'll be squeezing the FA Cup reaction in on it as well. Here is Foden. Foden now to Walker on the right-hand side. Walker back to Foden, looking for the pass forward to his England teammate. Walker always looking for the early pass. It was just deflected. Kevin De Bruyne is trying to get there against Van der Ven, and then balls into Van der Ven and sends him over the byline. It's given us a goal kick. No, it's given us a free kick.
Yeah, he has. Kevin De Bruyne said to the linesman, it's shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, that was a full sprint there, but he knew he was coming, Van der Ven. And actually the point is being made by a couple of the Tottenham players about whether De Bruyne knew what he was doing, and in the end, referee Tierney has decided a free kick is enough.
Yeah, but it wasn't from there. It was right on the byline. Look where Vicario was taking the free kick from. Come on, Tierney, get a grip of the game.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Full-time whistles will be going in the other 3 ties very shortly as Pedro Porro wins a free kick halfway inside his own half. Pep Guardiola is clapping his hands.
Yeah, he's going to book Pep, look.
Yeah, there we are.
Look.
Yellow card.
And he's still clapping.
Ironic applause, sarcastic applause, call it what, he's still clapping. I think that I've got a feeling that's now well over 3 yellow cards for Pep Guardiola this season.
So it might be a ban coming soon then.
Well, he's already had one. Ooh. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Yep, the full-time whistle's going in the other 3 ties. Hillsborough first. A replay, Tom Gale.
John, Wednesday 1, Coventry 1. Torp's first half torpedo cancelled out by a late strike from Gassama, the Frenchman once of PSG, means these two will now meet again for the 4th time this season. Full time, Wednesday 1, Coventry 1.
Replay at Coventry. Here come Manchester City with Doku on the left-hand side. Doku takes it to the byline but turns back, still 0-0. Here he's given it away to Kulusevski. So a replay at Coventry. Will we have a replay in Nottingham as well, Chris Coles?
We'll be back to do it all again in Nottingham in a couple of weeks, John. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Plenty of endeavour, but no quality in the final thirds. Callum Hudson-Odoi with Forest best chance into the side netting. Ditto Cam Pring for Bristol City. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
So 2 replays already. Henry Moran.
And a third. Chelsea 0, Villa 0. We're going to a replay. Chelsea had enough chances to win it through Palmer and Madueke in particular. Villa's Matty Cash forced a brilliant save from Petrovic in the second half. Not a classic. We'll go again. Chelsea 0, Villa 0.
So, is it going to be a full house of replays in the FA Cup tonight? We just saw Rodri putting in a challenge on Udogie near the edge of the City box. Tottenham fans wanted a free kick. Kovacic at the other end. Kovacic out to Doku. Doku then back to stretching De Bruyne. Lovely. One touch with one foot, then a pass with the other. And then back to Rodri in the middle. Gvardiol. Ball out to Doku again on the left-hand side, looking to run at Pedro Porro, but Kulusevski was there as well, and the two Tottenham players have been able to get the ball back, and they're passing it, little triangles away, and they're succeeding as well. And Pep Guardiola waving his arms as Tottenham bring it forward. I think Pep Guardiola's
Doku, he's moaning at Doku,
not very happy with Doku for not preventing that. Kulusevski now down the line, skip on the right wing, his ball across, a slip in the middle, but Diaz was able to correct himself and play it out. It went from skip to slip.
Yeah, good pace from Skip though.
It was. But Diaz was able to recover and clear it out of play. Well, 3 replays already, and we are now about 12 minutes away plus added time from making it 4 out of 4 tonight. Should be a good midweek though, midweek after next already.
Definitely, with all the replays.
Yeah, more commentaries tomorrow, 3 more commentaries, but all of the matches covered on 5 Live Sport. Kulusevski just kept in by Richarlison near the corner flag, down to our right. Showed too much of it to Diaz though. Richarlison's not got much change out of Manchester City's defence tonight, has he?
No, you're right.
As Kovacic finds Gvardiol, then first time touch from De Bruyne, and he's without question he's lifted it as you would expect he would. De Bruyne, Rodri's pass, this is another one for De Bruyne to sprint after, and then Romero in with a real typical Romero challenge, and he's ended up getting cramp actually after going into it, and De Bruyne comes across in a very friendly manner.
Sporting that is, isn't it?
He actually, De Bruyne is doing the old stretching the leg, bending the foot, helping his opponent.
That's why he's the best. He's so nice. I don't think I'd be doing that, John. I'd be wanting to get on with the corner and try and get the goal, but that is Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, and he's got that hair now as well.
He looks different with that hair, doesn't he?
It's better even than Robbie Savage's hair.
Oh, anything's better than Savage's hair.
Robbie was boasting about his hair the other week, and then Kevin De Bruyne comes back with this. De Bruyne takes the corner to the back post. Udogie leaps, heads it across the box. Bernardo Silva, now Rodri across the area, cleared away though. Hojbjerg was there in the middle. Still 0-0, 10 minutes to go here at the Tottenham Stadium. Kovacic curls the ball out to the far side. It will bounce all the way out to Bernardo Silva. But for Manchester City, really, they've created relatively little. But that's been the case, both of the teams. They've cancelled each other out, really, tonight.
Yeah, you're right.
Good defending.
John. They have. It's been good defended. I think the defenders have been outstanding in the game.
And sometimes you just have to applaud that side of the game as well. Walker turning one way then the other, and eventually finding the pass to the left back, Gvardiol. Now here is Doku running at Pedro Porro. Kulusevski bounces across the penalty area after a deflection, but Udogie's able to step in. He's given it away though. Rodri could be in business. Bernardo Silva could be in business. Into the area, goes down under the challenge that came in from Maddison. Manchester City fans appealing in that corner at that end. Referee Tierney's not interested in that. The trio of VARs will be having a look at that, but I don't think penalty. Here's Doku in the full-back position. Doku, ball just rolling back to Kovacic, and then Rodri. Tottenham force City back, have to go to the left to Gvardiol, into the area again to Doku. Kick missed by Hojbjerg. Bernardo Silva's shot too close to Vicario, and the Tottenham goalkeeper drops onto it on his right.
Yeah, he gets away with one there, Hojbjerg, because you're thinking once it falls to Bernardo Silva in that position, it's a good touch, but he hits it cleanly, but it's straight at Vicario, and it was a comfortable save. But it's City that are pressing at the moment, and Tottenham look tired, but who did they have to bring off the bench? Maybe Hill can come on for Timo Werner.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. 5 Live from the BBC. 5 Live Sport on air till 10:30 tonight, so we'll try and bring you some live interviews from downstairs from this match and the others as well, incidentally. Closest we've come to a goal. Well, Manchester City did have the ball in the net. It's given away by Hojbjerg. Foden, De Bruyne. He's missed it. He's missed it from 12 yards. Right foot shot, pulled wide of the goal.
Højbjerg again looking tired. That's why I was surprised that he didn't come off and it was Bentancur, but he gives the ball away and Foden just picks out Kevin De Bruyne, and you're just waiting for the net to ripple, and he tries to give Vicario the eyes and he drags the shot wide. Unusual for Kevin De Bruyne, John. Unusual.
You said it, Clinton. The Tottenham Stadium, all of the people in here, 60,000 thereabouts. We were just waiting for the proverbial net to ripple, and he pulled it wide by a matter of inches. So it is still Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. And Spurs have got to be careful. Højbjerg, 2 mistakes in a very short space of time. You know, Tottenham have got to see this through, or indeed nick it for themselves. Here's Pedro Porro. Ake putting him under pressure, and that's forced the concession of a throw-in. It's Manchester City who are in the ascendancy, should be ahead. Throwing to Doku. Skip is there, so is Pedro Porro. Doku goes down, and that's given us a free kick the other way. Free kick to Tottenham.
Yeah, I thought he was going to give it to Man City, but Tottenham are holding on there. City look like the most likely to go on and score a winner in this game, John.
Yeah, but time running out for both teams. Udogi forward over the halfway line. Højbjerg is there. Højbjerg's pass. Werner on the chase. Werner into the penalty area. Defender Walker does brilliantly. Walker overtook him. And then a free kick given for the challenge by Werner on Walker, which sent the Manchester City captain down.
I don't know why people get excited when you're ahead of Kyle Walker and you're a yard like that. No way. There's only a few that can. There's not many that can run away from Walker. I've not seen one, to be fair. And he gets back at him. When it's a race like that, you are not beating on Kyle Walker. He dropped it into third gear, John. It was brilliant from Kyle Walker. Great defending.
That's a great response from Walker, who, as I say, received a little bit of criticism after Newcastle. And tonight, he's thought to himself, right, Timo Werner tonight, you're not winning.
You're not winning. And he gave him 2 yards as well.
He did. Kyle Walker, 33 years old, signed a new contract when Bayern Munich were interested in him as
you can't do that.
Kick. And Gvardiol, well, Richarlison was down on the ground.
Yeah, he just pushed him down like that, Gvardiol. He threw him down to the ground.
So yellow card for Gvardiol now. So Gvardiol, Kovacic, Diaz, all booked for Manchester City. And Richarlison landed on top of Gvardiol, and he wasn't best pleased about that. And then, as Clinton describes, Gvardiol then just sort of shoved him over. They were both on the ground at the time, and he just sort of shoved him over to get him out of the way. And Manchester City aren't very happy about this. Pep Guardiola has told the fourth official exactly what he thinks of that. Guardiola, who's on a yellow card in this match, and now Guardiola has stalked off to speak to Doku, who's on the receiving end.
I bet he wants to be on the other side.
Doku must. Oh no, he's coming. So, because he was on a yellow card, he knew that Guardiola couldn't speak to Darren England, the fourth official, so that's why Doku got it.
Yep.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. 5 minutes to go. A match with surprisingly few goal-scoring opportunities, but we've just had a good one for De Bruyne, and now Bernardo Silva passes to Doku, who shoots straight at the goalkeeper, comes back to Doku, left side of the area, who did well to get up, turns to the byline, and Porro went with him and blocked it out. So another chance for City, save from Vicario.
It's beautiful football. The touch from Foden's majestic into Bernardo Silva. He plays it to Doku, and Porro just does enough because he can't get his shot away. Good save from Vicario, but the football's outstanding from Man City.
Pedro Porro, former Manchester City man, remember, as a youngster, didn't actually play for the first team. And there's a little bit of talk about him maybe going back there. Corner is taken. Bernardo Silva volleying on the edge of the area, but Tottenham were all over him. They knew that De Bruyne was looking for him on the edge of the box and closed him down, snatched at the shot, high over the bar.
Yeah, they read it. Romero in particular, he was brave. He just ran out there and said, you're not getting a clean strike here, and Bernardo Silva over the bar. And John, I am starting to panic. I don't know where this goal's coming from.
Well, how many late goals have we had this season?
Quite a lot, so
we
can still pray and hope.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I've got that feeling as Skip twists against Bernardo Silva. They enjoyed that, the home fans. Skip did a Bernardo Silva on Bernardo Silva. And now Højbjerg goes back into his own penalty area to Van der Ven, who will pass it across the 6-yard box. And Vicario, he's made a couple of saves now, but he should have been beaten by Kevin De Bruyne. That was the big chance. Vicario then passing it out to Romero. But if Pep Guardiola, if what he said yesterday is absolutely right, then Haaland should be available for the replay, if there is to be a replay. Vicario clearing again, headed forward by Diaz, hooked forward by Rodri. De Bruyne on the edge of the area, lovely footwork, he's away and shoots, and it's deflected wide. Defender did well actually against him, although De Bruyne, I mean, the control was magnificent.
No, it was magnificent. You know, watching Tottenham today, they missed some badly, John. They have not got an outlet to get them up the pitch what he can give you. Yeah, they are struggling. I bet they can't wait till he gets back into this team. But City look brilliant at the moment.
Yeah, Lo Celso as well, ruled out today. Rather ruled out for this match. De Bruyne with the corner in under the 6-yard box. Vicario, it's forced in by Ake.
How's he dropped that?
Well, Tottenham are protesting. It was swung into the near post. Vicario went for it, couldn't get it. Scrambling for it in amongst a load of bodies, and the ball bounced for Ake to stab into the net from close range. Tottenham's players are surrounding the referee. VAR will look at this, but it looks like Manchester City might have stolen it with their first goal in this rebuilt stadium. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1 for the time being at least.
Yeah, they're moaning that it's whoever's on Vicario is backing in. Like that, they say Ruben Diaz jumps into the back of Vicario. Well, listen, it could be given, but I'm thinking, yeah, because he jumps into the back of him. But he's got to be stronger there, John. I feel Vicario has to be stronger. But you look, Ruben Diaz jumps into him, and Vicario can't get a punch. So it'll be interesting to see what VAR say with this.
Well, this is another one. We've seen a number of these this season where goalkeepers have been impeded. Remember Alisson?
That's what I mean. And usually they are given, but Paul Tierney hasn't given it on field.
Alisson, who did win the free kick, remember, quite controversially. And what was the other one recently?
It was the Burnley, isn't it? Burnley-Luton.
Trafford.
Yeah, Trafford, that's it. Burnley.
That's right, on the Friday night. When he didn't get the free kick.
He didn't get it, and that was a free kick, by the way.
I'm with you. I felt
this one, you can see that Diaz jumps into the back of him, to be fair, but from Vicario. So it's a hard one. Good luck.
So the question is whether this will be allowed by VAR. And what we have, De Bruyne swings this into the near post, and it sounds like the goal stands. Yeah, Paul Tierney says VAR are satisfied with that. They feel that that was not a foul by Diaz on Vicario. The Manchester City player, in their opinion, was not impeding Vicario, and so Nathan Ake scores, and it's Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1, and the holders are ahead.
Yeah, they are ahead. And listen, that could have been given if he gave the foul off the pitch. I mean, on the pitch, it would have stayed. But obviously, it's the other way. Vicario's got to be stronger, regardless. If Diaz is backing into him, he's got to be stronger. He's got to clear everything there.
Well, the goal has arrived. Kevin De Bruyne with the free kick, with the corner that led to it, and De Bruyne now ball across the penalty area. And Tottenham, we are just about into added time, as the ball is deflected by Rodri out for a throw into Tottenham inside their own half. So before it came, Manchester City had racked up a total of 100 attempts at goal in this stadium before the goal came. And now Ange Postecoglou is bringing on the young striker Dane Scarlett, who was on loan at Ipswich earlier this season but has been recalled. Never scored for Spurs. Now would be a very good time. And 5 minutes was that, Clinton?
Yeah, 5 minutes of added on time.
5 minutes of added time. So Dane Scarlett coming on, the number 44. Manchester City, jubilant. Really tricky tie this to come to Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. But that goal, that late goal, Nathan Ake, who actually scored the winner last season in the fourth round against Arsenal, might have scored the winner in the fourth round this season against Tottenham, as Dane Scarlett is in an offside position, and it's a free kick to Manchester City on the edge of their own box.
Yeah, he goes too early. To be fair, Vicario the whole game wants to have a go at all of his teammates, and for how good he's been this season, got to be strong. He's got to punch everything, Diaz and the ball. And I can understand people might say, yeah, it's a foul. 9 times out of 10 it's given, but because Tierney didn't give it on the pitch, that's why I don't think VAR overturned it.
Offside against Doku, but it's going to be the talking point after the match.
Yeah, of course it is, because you see 9 times out of 10, if you challenge a goalkeeper, the free kick is given. But I just think because Tierney didn't give it, where he could have easily have given it, could have gone either way that way, John.
What a win this will be for Manchester City. Tottenham really haven't been able to make any inroads at all.
No, they haven't.
You know, for all of the exciting talent, and as Clinton Morrison said, Son clearly for a match like this is a really big miss. But still, there's plenty of talent out there. Maddison's come onto the field, but De Bruyne now has been fouled by Romero, and it's a free kick to Manchester City in these 5 minutes of added time. We've already had 2 of them. So Tottenham facing, well, just the league to play for this season. They'll be out of both cups. Here is Doku, challenged by Porro, and the ball runs away for a Manchester City corner from the same side that they scored. And Manchester City looking at making it a 7-match winning streak. Another one of those Manchester City winning runs that will worry all of the other clubs at the top of the Premier League. De Bruyne had to take this, but City have got a corner, 1-0 up, and there's no one in a grey City shirt inside the Tottenham box. They take it short, and Doku is there and win another corner. And it's very clear what they're going to do here.
Yeah,
wind the clock down.
Definitely. But you're right, John. When you play Man City, you need your best 11, and you don't have Son. I don't think Tottenham had an outlet this evening at all.
De Bruyne just taps it for Doku. Now the Tottenham players can come in and try and win it back, which Kulusevski is able to do. Then Scarlett back to Pedro Porro, and Richarlison shoves over Ake. No, he doesn't. I thought that should have been a free kick. It's a Tottenham throw. Pedro Porro up the line. We are in the 4th minute of added time. Only seconds left. Scarlett plays it forward. Kulusevski's not reaching that. Guardiola gets there easily first. Ortega left-footed downfield to Foden. The City players, the City fans, all those 9,000, they will celebrate this. This will be a very, very good win in the circumstances. Kovacic down the line for Doku, and then Doku is brought down by Romero. That's a free kick. That might be another for the Romero collection of yellow cards. I think Tierney is going to be sympathetic.
Yeah, he is going to be sympathetic, to be fair, because I thought that was a yellow card, and Pep's letting the 4th official know that it should have been a yellow card.
Free kick then, Manchester City now in the final minute, in the 5th minute of added time. They won it late at St James's Park in their last Premier League match. It looks as though they've won it late in this match. 88 minutes were on the clock when Nathan Ake stabbed the ball in the net. De Bruyne takes the free kick down towards the corner flag to Doku, who weaves his way infield and wins a corner off Pedro Porro. So that means more winding down of the clock for Manchester City. And the Manchester City supporters, it's a great sight actually inside the stadium, with the 3 tiers of City fans are doing their famous Poznan, jumping up and down with the backs turned to the play as De Bruyne takes the corner. Doku plays it off Pedro Porro and wins another corner down to our left. And this is frustrating for the Tottenham players, and Doku has reacted to something down there, and the Tottenham players, well, Romero's involved in the middle of all that. Referee Tierney's trying to sort it out. I mean, Tottenham, really, it's a yellow card for Doku.
Yeah, him and Porro, they were at each other, and they went and pushed each other. Yeah, so him and Porro are at each other.
Yeah, some more yellow cards. Referee making a note of this. He's been spoken to by Phil Foden, so it's a corner, so the Tottenham players have got to move 10 yards away again, so it will be tapped short. We've had 5.5 minutes of added time now. Pep Guardiola's way out of his coaching area. He's almost halfway down the line towards De Bruyne, and there the corner is taken. The final whistle goes, and that controversial late goal from Nathan Ake has won the cup tie. The holders, Manchester City, are through. They've won here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 1-0, and Ange Postecoglou's side are out. They've only got the Premier League to play for now. But City, the better team, Clinton.
Yeah, City were the better team, definitely this evening. They had more of the cutting edge and the threat up front. And to be fair, probably a mistake from Vicario. As we say, a lot of people will decide on that, whether it's a foul or not a foul. I think if he gives it on field, VAR don't overturn it. So, listen, Tierney made that decision. VAR didn't overturn it. And it was only one team that looked like they were going to win it in the second half. They had the cutting edge, Man City.
Tottenham didn't do enough.
No, they didn't do enough, John. They didn't do enough in that final third. And it's hard against Man City because this is why they're champions and this is why they're one of the best teams in the world at the moment, because they're relentless. And yeah, Tottenham didn't have enough spark or cutting edge going forward. As I said, when you miss a player like Son, you are going to struggle. And Maddison's just coming back from injury. It's going to take him a bit of time to get up to speed. But yeah, City had people that they can bring off the bench, where they brought on the likes of Doku, Kevin De Bruyne. Tottenham could only bring on Maddison.
So there we are, no FA Cup for Tottenham in 2024, they're out. And Manchester City, well, another treble is still on. Nathan Ake the scorer, Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Clinton. We're going to stay with you until 10:30 tonight. On social, Christian says, I've been impressed by Spurs back four and keeper this evening, but with a weak attack, it seemed the only way Spurs were going to win this game was if City made a mistake. And Chris says stupid decision-making from Spurs led to that goal, playing little passes at the back that late in the game. Keeper should have gone long, equals no corner, equals no goals. So Manchester City through, the holders progressed to the fifth round. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Elsewhere tonight, 0-0 between Chelsea and Aston Villa, so a replay needed there. A replay at the City ground as well is on its way. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 0 at Ashton Gate tonight. And at Hillsborough, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 0, so a replay to come in that game as well. Coming up, reaction from all of tonight's FA Cup fourth round matches. 3 out of 4 going to replays. Plus, we'll look forward to the standout ties over the weekend on 5 Live Sport. That's after the latest BBC News from Giuliano Cassidy.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Donald Trump has been ordered to pay the writer E. Jean Carroll $83 million in damages after being found guilty of defaming her. Carroll sued the former president for destroying her reputation as a trustworthy journalist by denying he raped her nearly 3 decades ago. The United Nations highest court has ordered Israel to allow aid into Gaza, but has stopped short of demanding a ceasefire in the territory. The provisional ruling has been made as part of a case brought by South Africa, which has accused Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has branded the charge false and outrageous. The South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says he wants Israel to abide by international law.
This order is binding on Israel. We expect Israel, as a self-proclaimed democracy and a state that respects the rule of law, to abide by the measures handed down by the International Court of Justice.
An oil tanker is on fire in the Gulf of Aden after Houthis say they hit it with a missile. The ship's operator has told the BBC the strike caused a fire in one of the ship's cargo tanks and they're trying to contain it. A BBC investigation's found that more than 60 calls were made to police and social services in the 3 years before a 9-year-old boy was killed by his mother and her partner. Alfie Steele was abused for years before he died in Worcestershire in 2021. Stephen Eccleston is the chair of Worcestershire Children's Safeguarding Board.
I think it's important that we recognise that aspects of our response to Alfie, both as single agencies and collectively, fell short of what Alfie needed and Alfie deserved. And for that, I would like to apologise on behalf of Worcestershire Safeguarding Children's Partnership and the agencies involved to all who knew Alfie and Alfie's family.
And Queen Camilla has told hospital staff the King is doing well after being treated for an enlarged prostate. King Charles underwent the procedure this afternoon at a London hospital.
Match of the Day Africa Top 10.
Join Yaya Toure, Ifana Koku and Gabriel Zakuani as they pick the best of African football. From the all-time greatest AFCON winning teams.
There's some disagreement here.
To the greatest AFCON moments.
I'm actually surprised I'm not in this.
Match of the Day Africa Top 10 from the BBC World Service.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Let's do this. I won't argue anymore.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Darren Fletcher on 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
So welcome back to Five Live Sport, with you until 10:30 tonight. The FA Cup fourth round results from this evening: Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1, 0-0 between Chelsea and Aston Villa, and Bristol City and Nottingham Forest, and it finished 1-1 at Hillsborough between Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry. With me, the former Brighton striker Glenn Murray, and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, your commentary team tonight, John Murray and Clinton Morrison, are with us as well. So Nathan Ake with the winner, John. Manchester City finally getting a win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, finally scoring a goal as well. I think, if my maths are right, they'd gone past the 100-shot mark without scoring before they actually got one, but they won't care about that when they get back on the coach to head north to Manchester.
No, not the goal fest that we've been hoping for this tie, but just the one goal, in fact, with an air of controversy about it as well. In the 88th minute, De Bruyne, substitute, took a corner, whipped it into the near post. Goalkeeper Vicario couldn't get there. He and his teammates claimed he was blocked by Diaz. Referee Paul Tierney didn't see it that way. Ake stabbed it into the net from close range, and VAR backed the referee's on-field decision, and the goal stood. Tottenham, Maddison returned as a substitute, but over the piece, they defended very well, Van der Ven to the fore, but they didn't do enough going forward. So only the Premier League to play for them now. And if there was to be a winner from this match, Manchester City were the right ones, and they've won it. The holders through.
OK, Glenn, Clinton, any concern about the Manchester City goal? I mean, the way I saw it, I don't think you can rule that off. I don't think you can start disallowing goals for things like that. What do you think?
No, for me it wasn't, Fletch. I felt as though Vicario was quite weak in that situation. I thought the referee and VAR made the right decision, but it was good to hear Clinton bang on the money again, predicting goals before the game, wasn't it, Fletch?
It was.
I don't get nil-nils. Tell them, John.
he was right.
Exactly.
We had a goal.
We had a goal. There should be more goals. You know there should be more goals in this. There was with the two top teams that we have here. But listen, City were outstanding. And for a few Tottenham fans are disappointing. And listen, I think Vicario has to be stronger. If he's coming there, you got to punch everything. If you're going to punch the ball, take everything. I think Diaz, it's a position I used to stand on the goalkeeper like that and try to just block him from coming. And 9 times out of 10, the foul would be given against me. But I think because Tierney didn't give the decision, then VAR were never going to overturn it. If he had given the foul, then I think VAR would have stuck with it.
You know, Clinton, I hate it when you say that, because that means you can interpret a rule in a game two ways. When we start to say, oh, well, if they'd have given the goal, you can't overturn it. If they hadn't have given a goal, you can't overturn it. That means there's two ways to interpret the same rule. I don't like that at all. And I think...
Me neither, mate, but...
No, and we've seen it this...
That's what I mean, Fletch. You've seen it this season, haven't you? Yeah,
we've seen it this season exactly. And then we've seen the one at Burnley with James Trafford against Luton. Then we've seen the one tonight. This seems to be one of the new grey areas that they've got to work out. Just how impactful the challenge has to be on the goalkeeper for it not to be a goal. And it seems to be being interpreted different ways, which I think is always dangerous.
Yeah, because obviously we're far up here, and then we get to see the replays a little bit here. But what I'm saying, you lot are watching it at home. Do you think that's a goal, both of you? You think that goal should have stand? That's what I'm saying. From where I was, I think he has to be stronger, Vicario. He's going and obviously moaning about it, but there's decisions that we see too much that are given to the goalkeeper. So I think he gets it right in the end.
I think this is one where if we were able to hear the conversation, or either tonight or whenever, I think that would be quite instructive, don't you, to hear what the thinking that goes into that from VAR.
I do, John, but I also take the point that Clinton made that if he rules that goal out, I don't think it gets overturned on VAR. And if he allows the goal, I don't think it gets overturned on VAR. So
because of the subjective nature,
Yes, but you can't have... So I just don't think you can have a lot of subjectivity in the modern game when you've got VAR. I just think they've got to make the mind up what a foul on a goalkeeper is and what a foul isn't. I'm happy they've let the goal go tonight. I'd sooner see things like that be allowed to go. But I think there's been enough incidents this season, Glenn, to know that they're not quite sure which way to go in a situation like that.
For me, that's not even close to a foul. That ball gets within 6 inches of Ruben Diaz's head. He's got the right to jump and try and head it. Vicario comes over the top of him. There's obviously contact. And for me, it's just a phase of play. Never been a free kick. And I'm right, it stood. I'm glad it stood.
Yeah, so significantly different from the James Trafford Burnley incident.
Which again, John, is a completely different interpretation of the same rule, isn't it? I mean, this is where I think we're starting to struggle. If you look at the stats tonight, 57% possession for Manchester City as an away team at Tottenham. 18 shots for them, John, compared to 1 for Spurs. 5 on target for City, and the 1 shot that Tottenham had was on target. 14 Manchester City corners to 2 for Spurs. I mean, it's so lopsided in terms of match stats tonight, the significant ones at least.
Yeah, just didn't do themselves justice, did they, in an attacking sense? I mean, Van de Ven was excellent at the back, but in terms of, getting the full-backs involved going forward, we had the 4 on the field, Johnson, Kulusevski, Werner, Richarlison, but Richarlison really, for all of his recent excellent form, this was a return almost to the Richarlison before he started this recent goal scoring, where he just didn't get any change out of the Manchester City defenders. So all of that added up to, well, how many attempts was it for Tottenham? Not very many.
1.
Yeah, 1.
One with 1 on target. And also, Clinton, we're at that stage of the season now. It's not even February, and we've got to make the point that it's highly unlikely now that Spurs are going to win a trophy again this year. They're out the League Cup, they're out the FA Cup. I think even the most optimistic Tottenham supporter are going to find it difficult to make a case they're going to win the Premier League. So for all of this excitement over Ange Postecoglou's first season in charge, it looks like it's going to be a familiar story for them.
Don't write them off, Fletch. Don't write them off. Listen, what you got to realise is all them other teams are in Europe and they're still going for other things. There's a lot of games with this Tottenham. Remember we had this conversation. Don't write them off. Son to come back.
I'm writing them off.
No,
Spurs
you can't write Tottenham off.
They are not winning the league.
You can say they're not winning the league, but they're definitely in it at the moment. They are. You can say it. No, you can say it, but they definitely have got a chance. They've got a chance. They're in the running. They're in the running. You can't write them off.
They've got a chance. It's no chance. They have a chance. It's no chance.
You know what? Tottenham could finish ahead of Arsenal this year. How about
they don't
that?
win the league either, are they?
Okay, there you go.
This is a Manchester City Liverpool battle, whichever way you dress it. Glenn Cumming. Am I right? Is Clinton right? Are they in the title race?
You can't write them off, can you, Mazza? You can't write them off because they're still in it. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but they're still in it.
It's a very, very long shot for me, that one. But look, I think I do agree with Clinton that they will get better towards the end of the season when they get more players back, and they will finish in the top 4.
Yeah, delighted for them. I've got news for them. So will Manchester City.
No, but all right, no, listen. All right, I'll throw it out there. Listen, you got to realise, what are they? 5 points off the top at the moment. So you said, are they in the title race? At the moment, they're in the title race. You didn't ask the question, did I think they'll win the Premier League? Man City are going to win the Premier League. I've said that from the beginning of the season. But Tottenham are in the title race, Fletch.
I made the point. I didn't think they'd win a trophy this season, which would indicate that I don't think they could win the Premier League.
You never know. Yeah, there's a Premier League 2 trophy they could win, so you never know. It's not over, is it?
I don't mind sticking some kind of forfeit on it if you want to between now and the end of the programme.
No,
you can have
because
Tottenham
I know
to win it out of the rest of the field.
No, I've had Man City from day dot. I'm not changing that. I said they're still in the title race, though.